For many persons, when I shared this topic, people were really taken aback. A few persons were offended, a few persons laughed, a few persons gave a almost too enthusiastic yes. So it's a topic that is relevant to a lot of persons in these times, especially when food has become so political. Health has become political. We've seen how varying opinions on health and wellness created serious divides even during the COVID pandemic, quote unquote pandemic. It's not a simple matter of personal choice for many people. It is political, it is almost religious. This issue of health and how we approach health. And certainly the idea of being vegan or reducing, limiting, or even completely eradicating meat from the diet is a major source of debate in terms of whether it is healthy, whether it cures disease, whether it has the possibility to cure disease, etc. So I'm just gonna jump in right now. O'Shane, you came in blazing. You said that vegan food does in fact make people sick. Did you want to elaborate on that a bit? O'Shane, is your mic on? Oh, I didn't invite you to speak. I keep forgetting that.
And the homie I got talk with me in the audience.
Forgive me, man. Forgive me. I'm still learning the technology. So welcome again. Welcome, Daniel. You're on the stage as well. Should you feel to join? Go ahead, O'Shane. Let us hear how you make the distinction between vegan and Ital.
Okay, most of what people are calling vegan in today's world is processed food. It's no different from junk food. It's just a different label, and they flip around some ingredients, and then they can't try to tell you it's healthy. So no, I don't. The word vegan is just a selling point for me. If one wants to eat, our bodies are mainly plant based. End of story. So anything that comes out of nature, that is natural, yeah, we can eat it. But if we're going to start to, like what them do, them take the tofu, which is a bean, and then that is not, it causes cancer within itself if you eat too much of it. So then now they start to put that in the them start to use the tofu as a texture base for the fake meat and the fake this. So people who used to eat meat and want to go supposedly healthy start to eat all of this other stuff, and that's why they're getting sick, because they're still eating junk food thinking they're eating good.
That's interesting, O'Shane. Thank you for that. But I want to pick up on something you said because this idea of simply eating natural, how do we define that? What are the parameters for natural? There are animals that are natural, and people think there's nothing more natural than hunting, capturing animal, eating animal flesh. Many people like to use the rationale that their ancestors did this as a means of survival and were more healthy than us. So when you say natural?
Well, most I can only really talk for us as a people from what I know, because that is what we are, melanated people. That's not something for us to do. And the stats and the different ailments of today is showing us that we are the ones who have the highest heart problems, diabetes, and all of that. And all of that is attributed to the consumption of flesh for black people because it's not for us. The reason why them other people can do it and get away with it because their DNA structure, etc., is different from ours. And that's what we need to realize. We need to study ourselves. We're all the same but different, as in we're all humans, we're all melanated, whatever, but we all have, our DNA is have different signatures. So certain things work for us, certain things don't. But as a collective, we're not supposed to consume dead flesh. And then again, it turn into uric acid in your body and it causes decomposure. Then when you go to the bathroom, you're not supposed to go to the bathroom and you're in there long time, the stench, then you get certain breakouts on your skin, and that's why you see so many black men that have impotency problem because certain blood vessels clog up, and it just causes a bunch of problems. So all of these processed foods and whatever, and then what you see, a lot of these people who are sick, when they go to these doctors, and then the doctor tell them the scary things that they want to do, and then them seek a different opinion, and then somebody say, hey man, here, try this herb, or let's put you on a fruit diet only because the body consume amino acids, and then sugar is one of the best forms of it. So when a man go up on a fruit diet now, and then him realize now, wow, the this and the that with them say may have whatever, it a clear up. So the body itself I tell you what is good for it, yes or no.
Very interesting. Daniel, as an author that writes a lot about issues concerning Jamaican culture, language, and how we've evolved as a people in this part of the world, what do you make of this idea that melanated people are designed biologically to consume plants only? Especially, some people may say, well, Jamaicans, some people claim that we are mixed with Taino, some people claim that we're mixed with European. Do you think that has an impact on the argument of that O'Shane was making earlier?
Oh, sorry, I was pressing the wrong mic button. But good evening again, everyone. Uh, in terms of the genetic adaptation to diet, I'm not really sure if I want to say that the food is really affecting us differently um, off the bat, because I think it's the in general the food is making everybody sick, uh, whether one group is being affected in a different way. But I think when I look at across all races, I guess I think that everyone is being facing the same challenges, like from food related illnesses. And I'm aware of epigenetics and the impact of how, for example, slavery um, affected how the black diet, and how we deposit fat, and how we all sorts of stuff. So I'm aware of some of that. I'm aware of African tribes that are fruitarians, and um, I can't remember his name, but there was a German doctor who went to East Africa, I believe, and he studied some of the tribes there that would live to centurions, and they would live very long, and they were fruitarians. I'm calling them that. I don't know if that's the correct term, but yes, they only ate fruits, and
This is in East Africa, Daniel.
I think so. I am not 100% sure. In fact, at the moment, I'm looking for the book to get the guy's correct name. Um, but it is. one of those books that speak of I think his book is called the mucusless diet or something like that. Mucus free or mucusless. I'm definitely butchering it. Okay, I found it. His name is Arnold Eret, Mucusless Diet Healing System, and he is a German doctor, but he studied African tribes. So he did all his study in Africa, but I don't remember where the tribe, which I think it's in East Africa. But before I lose my train of thought, I just wanted to say, in general, regarding the topic, is vegan food making us sick? You know, I feel like all food is making us sick, um, based on the choices that we have and the choices that people end up making. And vegan food is really not anything that's not animal. And I think that's just a very broad definition that includes a lot of things that we wouldn't want to put in our bodies. So, like O'Shane mentioned, processed food. So, you have food made from plants or non animal products that are processed. You have artificial food, that's not animal based, that may be considered vegan. You have also actual plants who are subject, that are subject to pesticide and herbicide, and certain produce are laden with all sorts of chemicals. So between so I think just the term vegan now is just not enough, when you're trying to be a conscious healthy eater. You can't just simply, oh, it's vegan, so you jump at it, because it can be vegan and processed, it can be vegan and artificial, and it can be vegan plants and full of chemicals. I mean, even I find people here in Jamaica get so I shouldn't say heartbroken, but disappointed when they go to the store, the supermarket, and then buy a mango, and half of the mango ripe and the other half green, and then I have to say to them, "Oh, it carbine," and they're so disappointed because they don't understand what goes on behind the scenes, to get certain produce to the shelf. The artificial way of ripening fruits, the amount of chemicals that they wouldn't even think. Why would somebody put pesticide on a mango tree? They have no clue. Why would somebody dose yam with a bag of herbicides? So people are unaware of what's happening in the commercial food industry. And though the food is vegan and people are out there thinking that, hey, I'm making conscious, healthy choices, they have no clue that what they're eating is, they don't have any clue that soy is messing with their hormones. They don't have any clue that, um these produce may be filled with all sorts of stuff. So it's tough, and every day, even somebody like me, who, I mean, I went through a period of strict conscious healthy eating, especially when I was training, still in the professional athlete life. Very strict, and sometimes I would encounter something and realize that, whoa, this thing is actually toxic, and I would have to just eliminate it. And so it's tough. It's like everywhere you turn makajukyo, but we keep trying.
Thank you for that, Daniel. Interesting though. O'Shane, going back to your point, O'Shane, about um, eating foods that are natural. Daniel spoke about finding things in the supermarket that may contain chemicals, etc. And I am skeptical of people who say they want to have a natural diet, especially when you live in a country like Jamaica and you opt to get the main source of your fruits from the supermarket. You find that to be a judgmental stance, O'Shane, or does that sound to you?
Say that again, please.
No, Daniel spoke of people who have challenges when they go to the supermarket to purchase fruits, and they may discover that the fruits contain some certain kinds of chemicals.
Uh-huh.
But if we are looking at it from the perspective that a vegan diet is supposed to be guided by nature, why and how would someone find themselves in a place like a supermarket, especially when you live in Jamaica? Why would you choose to source fruits from the supermarket? Do you think that's a judgmental or unfair thing to say?
I think it come back to education and programming. So not necessarily. I wouldn't say it is. I'm not sure. I wouldn't say it is. I think what may I say is people uneducated about a lot of things. The rest of us, the few of us know, say, yo, if you're going to go to the store if you buy anything, you're probably not going to get the best because they prioritize profit over anything. And then they are the same people who pay the schools and pay the other people for teach you for drink cow milk and all of this foolishness, even though we know say none of that not good for you. And then push that. So a large amount of the people are going to be uneducated and misguided. And if all you see, you grew up thinking, say, hospital is some building when actually the hospital is what is on your table, what you eat at your house, etc. The farmer is your pharmacist, right? But we are not taught that. We are taught that, the pharmacist is some lady behind a counter in a white coat, a dish out pill give you. So it's
Yes,
more
but
so.
but but that seems like we're reaching to a place where it's beyond that. You get to the stage now where you're sick or you're in search of something. I am just talking about a regular person who lives in the Caribbean where fruit grows from the tree. And I must say, I've had these discussions with Daniel before regarding the tampering with fruit. And I'm not convinced that is happening on a large enough scale to make it a significant enough concern for people purchasing fruits in Jamaica. Because from a practical perspective, if you force ripe fruits, that means they're going to rotten and spoil on you quicker. I'm talking
Uh-huh.
about I'm talking about the stores. No, I'm not talking about the supermarket. Just regular a man on the having a stall that sell mango or sell soursop, right? For him to force ripe a mango when the average mango seller is struggling with not getting his mango bruised doesn't seem practical to me. And we've discussed this privately, but what I'm saying is the idea, just the basic idea, I want a fruit. How do you end up? How do you walk past the stall, drive past the fruit man, walk past your granny tree, your cousin tree, your friend tree to buy a mango in the supermarket? As a regular Jamaican, it just strikes me that there is some element of anti blackness, some element of um, capitalist philosophy, if you want to put it that way, that you would go to a supermarket as your primary source to the point where to because you see, in order for it to affect you on the level that Daniel spoke of, where it is now causing you cancer and you can't trust mangoes anymore, you have to be careful. You have to be getting a significant portion of your mangoes from a chemicalized source.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, how and why is that happening for the average Jamaican? And I'm just using mango as an example because that was raised. And Jamaicans can't consume the amount of mangoes that the trees produce. So
Well, you
I'm
see.
very confused as to why that would be a serious concern when it comes to a chemicalized fruit in Jamaica.
Remember, you say it from the get go, say food have become politicalized, So all we are yard, people are yard now. Nobody not supposed to buy no fruit in no store, cause we have fruit that grow up on tree all year round everywhere. If because we lost sense of self, and we have been brainwashed into this system, and we lost in this matrix system, where the same system where massa used for enslave we ancestor, we see him one now come and live in it and I defend it, and when I realize it is to the detriment of us. Because I was talking about this with some people the other day, and I said, dang, me sorry me ain't in that yard same way, because me come here so now me every time I want something to eat, me have to go buy. Me remember me group when right outside of my window, me have to just listen. Just wait and listen. You hear the guava drop off of the tree, or growing up back, you get two plum or sour sap the palm tree, or pineapple. See a mango. We have mango palm tree in a yard. Now if you buy none of that, me if you buy one little bottle of sour sap, squeeze out sour sap up here for $20. Me say a madness this man. And you're not even sure where it a come from, how it was processed, nothing.
So in 2014, I did some research prior to joining the room. Between 20 in 2014 in the US, there was something like 7 million people who identified as vegan. And by 2017, there were 20 million persons who identified as vegan. So it is, in fact, one of the most rapid growing uh, food or dietary movement, if we want to call it that, in the world. And
Trending.
there must be a reason for this. Do you think there is any legitimate reason that
Of course.
people are actually seeing a difference, despite that all food may have chemicals? Even if we
Of
take it from that
course.
aspect, that people are finding that they're consuming less chemicals by removing meat and dairy products.
Of course, because the science is there to back it up, and then people have been talking about it for years and years and years. And I think it has a lot to do with the seasons we're in. Even though I'm not a Bible man, even in the Bible it tell you, say, hey, what they on top now go stay there forever. The cream of the crop always rise up. So, you know, I heard something that said recently that, our DNA store about 16 generations of previous information within us. And if you notice it, a lot of the young people of today, they're talking very different. They're talking more militant. They're talking more educated. A lot of these systems that were put in place that affected a lot of us, even up to us, you realize that these young people are coming now and they're realizing that this is all crap. We're not into this. So that is what is causing the shift. It is a remembrance from the DNA coming down of what our foreparents used to do. You notice a lot of young people you see I walk around and talk about sour sap, even American. I mean, I say, oh, them know about them something and them not have that here. So the collective consciousness of people are changed, and we have moved away and we realize, say, yo, the foolishness that kept people, you know, bogged down for years. We don't need to follow the same trend because we see what the result is. And there are doctors, so-called doctors, there are herbalists and people out there are show people say, yo, that's not the way to go, and this is causing this problem in your body, etc. Personal experience. My whole life I used to hear people say this stupid statement, oh, um, you get this from your father, you get this in your DNA or something. And you as a child don't know what that mean, and you have to just go along with it. When I was like a preteen, always stuffy, always stuffy. Can't go outside if the temperature change. Everybody always come. Time for you for going. You know how you stay already. But what nobody was realized, nobody ever checked my diet and say, wait, this boy I drink too much milk, I drink too much chocolate milk, I eat too much cheese, this, that, and the other. Because we have a farm and those things were readily available, and it wasn't an issue. You're just subconsciously consuming, and then the casings in it triggered the part of the brain where when you eat sugar or take drugs, the same neuro section in your brain, it triggered that. So I kind of got addicted to it. But it's when I became a teenager now and start to learn about biology and start to learn. I mean, I say, wait, there no need for drink this. And then, people start to talk and I show you, say, hey, you ever see no other mammal drink no other mammal milk? And I look on it and I say, no. I mean, I say, even cow. After a certain time, the cow stop drink milk altogether. So why is it we are drink milk we whole life? And you see, once me cut out the milk, no sniffles, no congestion, no matter what going in the atmosphere. Because I mean, when I drink the poison for myself, right? And people are talking about you get it from this a generation, and so a lot of miseducation, a lot of ignorance. Some of the people them a wake up from, but a lot of people still in it because part of the reason why people wouldn't buy a fruit from a fruit vendor but go buy the same fruit in a supermarket because we no love ourselves. So guess what? If me no love myself, me can't love my fellow man. Me not go supper. Me rather go give me money to the man when no give a shit about me. Me rather go give me money to the man when me no see, when me no know. Because me no know if I love myself and if be community and if be family and we no see each other as one big extended family. That's why it's so easy for people come from all both, come in our community and we support them and build them up and make them strong and financially and otherwise. But we brother up on the corner, we no see it as a means to say, hey, the money can circulate better amongst us. The more we support this small business, the less crime we have because the more people we have money and food in their pocket and the less reason we have to think hungry and ignorant thoughts to go do that. And there's science to prove it, say they created crime. They purposely cut off certain opportunities to cause people to do that. Any mammal at all, if you take them out of their environment and put them in a difficult situation, you can predict what they will do. And that's what they have done to us. And it's the same thing with the food. And we need to get back to self because if you're feeding the body properly, other functions in the mind and the body will come back to equilibrium.
Yes, but O'Shane, I want to respond to something you said about the reawakening of persons as it relates to food and that. And maybe Daniel, you can jump in on this too, since you mentioned Mr. Eret. This whole vegan movement that is coming from the Western practices and the Western countries is in many ways a bastardization of things and practices, philosophies and practices that have existed before.
Eh,
I want to zone in on the fact that, again, this is Jamaica. Vegan is a bastard child of Ital and the
Thank you.
Rastafari movement. So the idea that it is an awakening is not necessarily true, because many of the persons now who are embracing so-called vegan diet made fun of, rejected uh,
The
the
teachings of
Rastafari, yes, the
Rastafari
teachings of
movement. Well,
Rastafari,
well,
which
tell you
said
what.
this,
I said it. I said it the other day to you. I said to you, I said I grew up in a Christian culture, Christian household, whatever. But something deep in my spirit, something deep in my stomach, your first brain was telling me that something not right with this. Me just can't tell you what it is, but my body had tell me say me not living right, something not right about it, and I felt it as a youth growing up. Me never like go to church. The only time me used to like go to church is when me know say we are gonna do like what you call this something there when it's a couple days it's church, but they keep over the course a couple days, and then some girls come in from other town and city, and you go see your friend them, and we are going to get to spend all day, and parents not go depend you too much, then not really bother you like that. And that's the only time I really went look forward for go church. And me used to hear my grandmother talk about the dirty rasta man, even though our own brother was a rasta man. And me remember I used to hear Rastaman talk about Ital and don't eat Babylon salt and no flesh and them something there. And me never disrespect it, me never understand it, but me see it and me observe it. And then now, once you start to get older now and you start to see things and you start to get enlightened, then you realize that, so the man they wanna tell with the truth all along. All of the road lead back to all of this something them where the man wanna tell with all along. And people wanna laugh after them and a clown them, and when Rastaman say I and I, and people not understand what it mean, and then philosophers start to come now and do research, and information start to reveal, so so I know him not wrong. Then now people are realize, say, yo, even the English language was just something for destroy our mind too. So a lot of these people, them brainwash same way. But I think it is okay if you're there, if you're a full time meat eater and you decide to go vegan. I think it is just a natural step, baby step. And then eventually you will realize some, excuse me, we realize, say, yo, this is not the best. We still need to keep going on until we get back to Ital, and, everything will reset itself. So,
Daniel, why do you think so many people are able to quote men like Eret, who have they have very specifically stated with facts and supporting scientific data, for example, that people of African descent cannot metabolize dairy, but they're not aware of a man like Dr. Sabi, he's been saying the same things, and there are many people. We talk about Rasta elders, and even other Eastern philosophies, African philosophies. How is it that people are so gung ho about veganism, and yet they rejected these men or these philosophies or these ancient practices? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I can share um I can share with you this particular guy, Professor Erit and Dr. Sabi. When I read the book upon recommendation from a popular Black Power activist vegan guy on Facebook, YouTube, and when I read it, but he would always talk, shit about Sabi, and he would say, Dr. Sabi is a quack and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. And I remember he had a Q&A one time, and I asked him to, after reading this book by Professor Erit, I was like, okay, could you tell me why you say Dr. Sebi is a quack when I don't really see a difference between Professor Eret's study of African tribes and what he's documented in his healing, mucusless diet healing system. And the guy was basically backtracking. Oh, I didn't say he was a quack. And he was saying that,
Really?
yeah, yeah. And it's Diallo Kenyatta.
Oh,
And
well.
he was, yeah, and he was essentially now saying, oh, Dr. Sebi didn't do any documentation and research, and going back to the scientific process that you have to document a research so people can go in, and it must be able to be replicated by other people other than you, and also all sorts of stuff. And I just, because I read this book, front to back, and I was like, looking at Dr. Sebi's content that I've read through other books that, have his content. And I was thinking, but essentially it's the same flipping thing. Dr. Sebi is just more specific to which herbs and foods you should eat. But this guy's thing is, you know, so I did find that, obviously something is wrong, because it just, for me, I encountered him bashing Sebi first, and then I saw him recommend this book later. But the title of the book alone, Mucusless Diet, and the fact that all Sebi talks about is the mucus is the cause of disease, so it just kind of really stuck out to me as, I guess, hypocritical. And I just kind of lost. That's why I don't follow him anymore. He started to contradict himself on a lot of stuff, and I was just like, all right, yeah, thanks for the recommendations in books. And I don't really sit and listen to his podcast anymore, because too many contradictions for my liking. um if I may, I wanted to say something about the the fact that almost every industry um, is driven by profit. We know about capitalism, the disease. It's a ruthless system. It's like it's trying to kill you. It's trying to oppress you. It's trying to keep you, like, people have so much that they're constantly having to fight against. The medical industry is profit based. The pharmaceutical industry is profit based. In fact, you can't, the whole social media, that there's the attention economy. Everything is just trying to keep people just down, and keep whoever is winning, and whoever, the masses, at bay. And the food industry is no different. So when people are increasingly turning vegan, it they're turning vegan because the people who are making the profits out of the food industry are looking and saying, okay, less people are eating meat. Maybe they're worried about cancer. Let us sell them this soy meat instead. Soy is cheaper to make. So they're not going to go for high quality ingredients. So everything is profit based. And so people are constantly, genuinely looking for better options, and they may not do so aggressively. And that's why people are, that's why the minority will always, be at the top, because most people are not going to be scouring the options out there to find the healthiest and purest um of foods to eat. They don't really have time for that. If you just tell them, all right, that's bad, this is better, they're gonna go over there until somebody tells them, actually, this is not better. But there are, of course, the few of us that will say, let me research this to find out if it's really better. But I think that, you know the vegan industry, more people turning vegan, is not as significant in the way that people are just looking for better options. It's more that the industry is shifting. The industry is adapting so it can continue to make profits. You know
Great
that.
contributions, Daniel. That's a really important point. And kudos to you for doing your own research on Sebi to compare and contrast with what Diallo was spewing. Kush, I want to know if you're hearing. Kush, are you hearing us?
Greetings. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kush. Greetings. All right. Um, you know, for being a Rasta myself, or a far as we call it, um, it's kind of problematic from the perspective, I think, at Keisha has had said about we being anti-black. Um, Now we're going to have to examine it if it's a chicken before the egg, right? When it comes to vegan and the mass of the people turning vegan or thinking about healthy food. So we're like wondering if the corporate companies decided to start to create products because the mass of the people was going vegan, or was it that the corporate company started to create vegan products and then the mass of the people started to go vegan, right? Because Ital was there. Ital was there was no question if Ital is healthy or not, because Ital encompass um, nutrition. It encompass a specific way of living um, in accordance with nature as best as possible, and health, right? And that has always been the vocal point, or the forefront of Rastafari, of Ital food or Ital eating. But the mass of the people wasn't going Ital. It didn't have a we didn't have a mass of the people. Yeah, people understand what Ital food means. Steam some Carlo is Ital food. So they understand what the concept was and they shunned it. So the mass of the people were like, you eat Carlo, you're going to get mad and dead. Yeah, you're going to get sick from eating Carlo. Yeah, they shunned it. They shunned Ital. All right. Now, uh, after shunning Ital, because we had Bob Marley, we had Peter Tosh, which even though these men didn't eat what we would consider to be fully Ital, so probably I don't know, man, eat goat or fish or whatever, but they themselves would still say to you, say, yo, Ital me this, just like how Bobo Shante we say Naya Bingi order are the order when ready for war, and every house will identify Naya Bingi order as the most powerful order, even though one is not Naya Bingi, right? Now,
12 tribe.
everybody, sorry, repeat.
12 tribe.
Oh, sorry. So even though each one probably not eating what them think is, they still would identify Ital, right? As in the Rastafari community. Now, once vegan came in, vegan started off with white people. That's what it started with. That's the first thing. It was white. Second thing, it had nothing to do with blackness or anything that Ital represented. So Ital, Rastaman, I tell you, say, Rastaman hell bent that is so African people used to eat. There, he's hell bent that his ancestors, his African ancestors, eat Ital, natural from the land. He's hell bent. Probably never know it, but he's hell bent. Vegan food does not care about culture. It doesn't care about spirituality. It doesn't care about nation kind of vibes. It cares about animals and it cares about environment. Now, white people, animal, environment, and then the whole world went vegan. And it has nothing to do with health. This is why, like right now, the only thing that is going to be of any help or any health is going to be either alkaline or Dr. Say the concept of alkaline or ital, which in my opinion is the same thing, right? But all vegan doesn't have anything to do with greens. And the anti-blackness of it, that's what gets us into the supermarket. Because we're to buy a mango. Because we want vegan. We do not want ital. We don't even want the poor. That
Kush.
means that cultural wise or history wise, we weren't consuming so much meat, if any at all. Right? Because we are a totem. We have a lot of totems in our culture. Say if there's a totem in the sea or in the river, we're not going to eat anything from that river. If there's a totem in the forest, we're not going to eat anything from the forest. So I think to reveal, but
All right,
white
but Kush,
they're selling mango on the road. The supermarket mango is vegan. His mango is fruits mango. No, not health from fruitsy. But vegan is something that is anti-black. It's non. It's something that you don't know what it is. You can market a special powder that you can't grow. You have to go beat down. You have to add chemical to it. That is marketable. Steam callaloo not marketable because anybody can steam a callaloo and eat it. The Rastaman shop was not going to make money off a steam callaloo, so corporate didn't want that. But Oreos can make corporate money because you're going to need capitalism to make an Oreo. You're going to need the blender, you're going to need the stove, you're going to need the oven, you're going to need capitalism to make an Oreo. So might as well go to the shop go buy it. So you know, we as black people in Jamaica, we are so attached to Jamaicanism that we don't understand how detrimental it is to blackness or Africanism. And that is why I guess right now we're eating vegan that has absolutely no health benefit to us at all. And it is sicking us. It is causing havoc on a lot of people.
all right, Kush, I wanted to ask you a question, but it doesn't seem as though you were hearing. Are you able to hear me now?
Sorry. Hold on, sorry. You mind repeating?
Yeah, I was trying to ask you a question earlier, but it seems like you weren't hearing. Are you
Sorry, no,
hearing
I
me
wasn't
now?
hearing you. Sorry.
No problem, that's fine. But I wanted to hear your perspective on whether you think the food that's making us sick now, do you think is a just retribution for us turning our backs on our ancestors, turning our backs on the elders, on the African traditions, Rastafari? Do you think it's just a cause and effect of us giving up our traditions for, as you say, the white man idea of eating plants? Do you think we're being punished with sickness and with illness from the so called vegan food?
All right. Sorry, Keish. You mind repeating for me, please? Sorry.
No problem. All right, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put it in the chat and then you can respond. But I'm going to move on to another person in the meantime. Kush raised some very important points regarding anti-blackness and vegan food and how we make these choices as it relates to food that has nothing to do with health. But I want to move to a different category of veganism that has also become very popular and has been in the spotlight a lot, which is raw food vegans. In fact, I think more than any other category of vegans, this category has received the most attention when it comes to people getting sick. I believe there were two recent cases of persons who they said died. One died because she was allegedly a raw food vegan, and the
All right. I
other, I
hope I hear
believe,
because
was in
where I am, the
prison.
signal is really low, so I'm having some
That's
issue.
okay. That's okay. Just mute. Just mute in the meantime.
Okay, sure.
Right. Um, and the other person, I believe their child died because they were on a raw vegan diet. And one thing I observe with the raw vegan movement, they do the most ridiculous things for clout, particularly the non-blacks. This idea of eating two whole head of purple cabbage. a big bowl of about 6 zucchini. And every time I would see these videos, I think to myself, what's happening with these people's intestine? What's happening with your small intestine when just with one meal you're pureeing a pound of cashews? And we know how acidic cashews are, but a pound of cashews to go over things like cabbage, beets. I think there is an element of faddism and being in fashion that is really contributing to this idea of vegan food making you sick. Am I the only one that noticed this? Or can anyone else relate?
Well, like we said before, it's a lot of misguidedness, with the thing. And people don't understand themselves. Even the word vegan is a white guy come up with the word, him and him wife or partner or whatever. So the mere fact say people are call themselves, that is another title, is another spit under the face of we ancestor if we are gonna look on it from that angle. Um, because like I said before, we are being punished because the right way was taught to us, and we move away from the right thing, and nature have its way of teaching us that no matter how far or how long we decide say we go detract it, nature will always win in the end. And like I said before, the body is plant based, so it don't matter what way we want to go around it. The only way for we fi have a healthy being is to go plant based, not vegan. No matter how much different word them want to put on it and brand it a certain way.
Well, uh, if in response to the raw food diet and people getting sick from it, I don't see much of it. I see probably just maybe one or two articles or videos, but I just immediately start thinking that generally, uh, there are fruits and vegetables that people just know, this needs to be boiled, this needs to be eaten, like how everybody knows that aki no fi eat, aki must open on the tree naturally, like people who eat fruits and vegetable as a part of their daily life, they know growing up, whenever we would see berries in the bush when we are roam about the place as children, our mother and family members used to say, if you not see bird that eat it, you're nothing near me neither. So that was like a measure as country kids growing up, roaming. We see stuff from, we see no birds eating it. We see a tree with stuff on it, no bird bite, no birds messing with it, red flag. So those are things that I guess if you're not used to eating vegetables and doing being associated with that, you won't know. And in just to reference the cultural shift that took place when O'Shane was talking earlier about how, and the supermarket, why people buy from the supermarket, anti-blackness was brought up, but I consider my own family experience where I grew up in our backyard. We have a river, we had fruit trees, we farm, we plant everything. I remember handing my granny cocoa sucker, planting sucker, and me and my cousins down there, and we plant stuff, and then when it banana shoot and we go cut, and we had that nice country life where we used to go all over, go pick jackfruit, guava, all of this good stuff. And then after a while, all of that just kind of died down. My granny stopped go over bush. We stopped farm. The backyard just became this overgrown mess, and nobody really went over there anymore. And I was truly, into the country things. So I would go over there and wonder why I me alone still I go over there. Nobody in the business boss over there anymore. But then when I got older, I realized that transition happened in the age of us starting to get barrels from foreign. So we started to get barrels of foreign food, canned stuff, all the snacks and the stuff in barrels, and so the more so now that became the new sign of progress. Like for families who were, I guess better off, or you have your pitney them a foreign and them send barrels. So barrel is the new marker of upward mobility, I guess. So nobody would do the dirty foul cube farming and backyard stuff anymore, because them have people are firing and them get things from firing. Our clothes come from firing, our food come from firing. So that completely died down, to the point where people all start cut down trees that used to be all over the neighborhood. People not think twice to just chop down a pear tree, a big plum tree. And I thought everybody was going mad. And I was like, why couldn't we keep these things while still getting barrels? I didn't understand why it had to be barrel you know, or grown food life. And so no, I think people still, there are enough people trying to, you know, go back. But I think the supermarket thing is a mix. It's a part of that barrel life where people are now caught up in their 9 to 5, and you know, their family life. It's just being managed differently than back in the day, and so it's a matter of convenience, plus it's a sign of progress that you shop at a supermarket. And then the people who do go in the market, for me, sometimes when I go in the market, and I would be like, I look at some okra one time, and they didn't look so righted. I was like, no, sir, I'm not buy that. And now when I walk away, the woman said, no, come back. And then she lift up the bad looking okra and show me this pretty okra where she would hide. But she was trying to sell me the the effed up okra, to get it off her hands. And I was thinking, look, we can't bother with this. And personally, I can't bother with the bartering stuff where when you step up, when I go to buy fruits on certain places, then like I remember buying mangoes. There's this famous part of Portland where sweetie mangoes sell, in Black Hill, Portland. And I remember stopping because I saw this little boy um selling at a stall. And I stopped, and the little boy, I said, how much are your mangoes? Everybody sell the mangoes, sir, for $100 a bag. And but I'm engaging him because he's young, right? So I'm just doing the proper thing. I said, how much are your mangoes? And him say $100 a bag. And then his granny looks at me and she said $200 a bag. And the little boy look at her like he knows that she a lie, and he's laughing, And I'm looking at her like, really? And the little boy is now learning now, you know, how to, well, I shouldn't say that, but you could tell he was like, he almost be like, what? Mama, $100, And so I personally sometimes don't deal with the market because I like to pick up one thing for one price. I mean, I want to be in the back and forth with people over stuff, and I don't like the fact that sometimes um they try to get rid of the bad produce by selling you it. Um, uh, so I sometimes, but at the same time, when I go in the market, sometimes they get brata. Get brata in a supermarket. So it's give and take. There is good, and you get to pick exactly what you want. You have more options, and if you're good at bartering, you can get the price lowered. So there is a positive side to it. But I I guess fundamentally, or underlying, there is a sentiment of anti-blackness, because I guess that's why we reject what we are used to in trade for somebody else's stuff, which comes from the West.
Well, I want to share a very funny story. Kush would remember this story because it took place at our restaurant. We have a vegetable cuisine restaurant, and some years ago, we had a diner, a guest, a very prominent attorney at law, um, then Queen's Counsel. I believe now he's a King's Counsel. But one of our menu items under hot beverages was old time chocolate tea. And of course, it's the Jamaican chocolate tea ball that many of us would have experienced through our grandmothers, made with coconut milk, local spices, etc. And in recommending it to him, telling him how delicious it was, is really, you know, a trip down memory lane visually, and it's a real treat for your belly. He admitted to me, quite frankly, in the presence of his Caucasian wife, he said, I don't want to drink this because it reminds me of my youth. Now, imagine my surprise, because I'm thinking, exactly. That's precisely why you should drink it. That's why I love it, because it reminds me of when my grandmother used to make old time chocolate tea.
Why you even have conversation with Yardman with White Wife? That
Yeah,
not tell
Just
you
a
food
minute,
him
just a
know
minute, just a
already?
minute, just a minute. And so he said, the chocolate tea reminds him of poverty. It reminded him of poverty. And which is why I wrote in response to Daniel when she was speaking, the idea of going to the supermarket and seeing that, or seeing barrel food as upward mobility, is part and parcel. It is the very same thing as anti-blackness. It's the
You
same
sure you
reason.
not exaggerate what him say?
I agree. I
It's the
agree.
same reason why people would say they would prefer to get tea bag, so-called green tea in a bag from China, rather than cut off a piece of leaf from a soursop tree, or to drink bush tea. It's no different. Now, we can couch it in terms like convenience. But what's more convenient than picking the leaf off of a tree? They are selling us whiteness under the guise of convenience. But it isn't convenient at all. Just like how it's not convenient to join the KFC fast food line. There's nothing fast about fast food except fast death and fast sickness. But we are sold this concept of convenience and fast food, and your food come in a paper bag, your food come in plastic. Back in the day, the Rasta man, and not even the Rasta man, just the regular Jamaican would shop in what I knew to be a crocus bag. Now the crocus bag has been rebranded into eco-friendly bags. What's the difference? The difference is that the crocus bag was associated with poor black people. Eco-friendly bags are seen as modern, as new age, as upward thinking, environmentally friendly, all these labels. And it's just a trick. So when a man say, boy, it's more convenient to get my mango from the supermarket. He's lying. He's lying to himself and he's lying to you, because it's not more convenient to go in an AC store, join a line, than to just get a mango from a stall. And I want to also comment on something else Daniel said. I find that we are too impatient with each other. So, and if we want to look at an example, when we're out and about, and we get annoyed with these vendors who constantly shoving things in our face. Buy this for me now, buy this from me, lady, nice girl, buy a blouse now, whatever, whatever. And yet it's the very same thing, like walking on the road and seeing a million digital signs, or getting a digital text, or a text from court selling us something every 5 minutes. But we're more patient with Digicel than with the black vendor who is bothering us on the street. So I too sympathize with you, Daniel, because I don't like necessarily fighting with market vendors, and the con artistry, and we know the Anansi behavior that goes on in our culture. But at the same time, if we don't stick with each other, if we don't work with it and say, listen, this have to improve, it will never improve. The solution cannot be, oh, market vendors, you need to get your act together, so I'm going to Mr. Chin supermarket. And this is not an attack on anyone, because I do it. I'm guilty of it, of some of it too, to varying degrees, right? Because we all like the so-called convenience, even though it's a kill we. But we have to get to a place where we acknowledge and recognize that where it go, what sweet nanny goat a go run in belly. Anybody wants to respond?
Boy, you triggered me a while ago when you tell me say, sorry, may I eat? You triggered me a while ago when you tell me say black guy show up to your wedding white wife and I tell about you know want no cocoa. You fit to that? Sure. Then I think can't even say what me I think. But say man no love himself. And at the
O'Shane,
same
if I
thing,
was to use that as a barrier to the people the black men who come to the restaurant, then I would serve no black men. But that's for another room. We'll discuss that in another day. But carry on.
that is sad. That is, but you see, because it go right back to self love. Notice how we see everything else outside of self and value it, but not where we do not look good to we because we don't love us. We don't know the value of us. The very thing where we have another man rebrand it when I look like we and give it back to we and give it one little name and we gobble it up. We keep on, like you said, we get things from foreign in a barrel, whatever, and we have better quality than that right away foot and we don't want to use it. And because we lose sense of self, and then the constant brainwashing of the children and the youth for things say whether foreign better this, that and the other. And me I look on it and me I realize say, said oh every day me sit down here so in I foreign here. And me I look on here, me I say, what I am man? Me say I just a little paper money what they have over we. And I then put restriction on we why feel we paper money not as good as for them own. Right? Because me not say nothing else when I die yard. Like me not said here earlier, I want two mango or whatever. When me go in a store, me have to pick through one whole basket, one big basket of mango, and most of them no good. Cause they either pick them too young or they never get them mature or whatever the case may be. You can't get two good ones. When the lady I talk about, mango and stuff, I may say when you really say, yo, people put up with the foolishness, there's one heap of brainwashing, man. Then pick up the foreign mentality and it was shown to us like it is better than what we have. Look how long man that yard a jerk chicken in a pan pimento wood and them thing there. But me see video where people are talking about look on where Jamaica gone to you see me see people in a line round corner gone way up so. in a hot hot sun, both them away pan KFC chicken. Me say this we gone to a yard. You know, upon social media, me I see the video. Me no down there to see it myself. But me say this we gone to man. And everybody a behave like say foreigner everything. But if you come here and live and see how they live, you realize it's a mental asylum.
It's a mental asylum, but it's amongst white people,
Uh
and
huh.
we prefer to be mad as long as the madness is in proximity to whiteness.
Uh,
We reject our own madness. So the
mm,
Rasta man was mad and not good enough.
uh,
But the white person who is coming on YouTube and drinking 4 gallons of raw beetroot juice that we know for a fact, as Daniel said, we have traditions from our elders and our community, just growing up, our own culture teaches us. When you pick cashew, when you pick cashew, to how cashew acidic, cashew will burn your skin and burn your fingers, we never need Dr. Saber to tell us that cashew was acidic, because we
yeah,
know
common
that
sense.
cashew is something that will burn your skin. So if it is burning your skin, what is it doing on your inside?
Uh,
But we ignore our own madness, our own, and didn't understand that we had method in our madness. It's quote unquote madness. And we jump on the white people madness now that's going to eat 4 gallons of beetroot juice, 1 pound of cashew for so-called raw food,
oh.
and turn around now and then now say, oh, raw food is making them sick. You see what I mean? So, you know, we are paying and paying dearly for rejecting ourselves. Daniel, you said the KFC one liquor is what?
Oh, Keish, don't make me shame myself right now. But the other day, I actually was giving somebody a ride, and the person, we were coming from like a family like dinner, birthday dinner in the country, so we had lots of food, rice and peas and all sorts of stuff, so food. And on the way back into Port Antonio, the person said, you know, oh, she has to stop in the town because her daughter wants KFC. So I'm looking around there and I'm like, the little girl is quite full from all we had eaten at the thing. The mom is overweight. The little girl is not. And the little girl, I don't know if the little girl actually wanted KFC. But I was like, you sure it's not you want the KFC? Because that
Uh-huh.
pitney, that pitney
Uh-huh.
looked like she good. And the lady
Uh-huh.
went, she because it's a ride, she getting a ride. So my grandma thinking she's mad, because she didn't have any way to come up out of the valley. And we gave her a ride and she stops. So my grandmother is thinking, but she getting a ride all the way home. And she stops in the town, and when we were
Left
passing
her then.
KFC line, max. And she go in there with the pitney half asleep, figure wait on KFC. When we all left that place with leftover food, that's how much food was served at the place. So it's, people
They not on the
are,
wrong man. Wanna
oh,
stop for?
but a big, it's an adult and her child. I'm not gonna.
Then you left her tell her, you give her an ultimatum, say listen, we don't have enough gas to drive up and down or go wait around pan
No, no,
KFC right
no, no,
now.
no, no, no. The KFC is on the way, and I wouldn't do that regardless. I'm not going to impose on people like that. But I was just making the point that um, people are, I think Kishi actually said it. KFC is not it's not fast food anymore, and a lot of these places are not fast food anymore. And I think that that Alice video, the lady with the crab, kind of also showed that um, there's a lot going on with our food industry as well. I work with a plumber that works with, in different kitchens. There's a restaurant owner here in Portland that has like 4 restaurants, and he doesn't eat at any one of them. And so you have people who know that he doesn't eat at his own restaurants, and they don't buy from it either. But
Hmm.
the times have changed to the point where almost everybody, um, regardless of income, I buy food a road. Um, Not a lot of people are cooking.
Yeah,
I
because we
don't,
lost our sense of self and culture.
and well, I don't, but probably I shouldn't generalize without doing proper research, but there are food places popping up everywhere, and I can say because I'm one of them. I've been through my no cooking phase, and I don't know if everybody is doing it for the same reason, you know, but there are lots of people. Sometimes when I'm, being an extra bum and not cooking and I go out, I'm like, why the hell is there a line at this food place at this hour? You know?
Well, Danielle, I want to jump in here because I want to make it absolutely clear, and I'm going to be unapologetic in this. KFC and 98% of the restaurants in Jamaica do not sell food. They do not sell food. They might, maybe you can call it food like items, but they don't sell food. And these food like items that they sell are oftentimes, it's impossible to differentiate their effect on people from the effect of crack cocaine. That's how addictive it is, and that's how destructive it is. So these people are not selling food. Even when you go and they give you a side of vegetables that they call coleslaw or whatever, it's not food. And I want to link this now back to let us get back to the topic of vegan food, because once you develop a habit for eating things that are not food, and then you say, okay, I'm going to become a vegan, you are going to become even sicker, because instead of the fried chicken, you're going to eat fried tofu and chips. Now, Al, you want to jump in here?
Yeah, good night, good night, good night. Late in jumping in, so
I
I was
want
kind
to.
of
Oh,
listening
oh.
to some pieces of the information that is being disseminated by everybody. But where the topic as it is, it's vegan food making us sick. I could say a ton on that. There's a lot to be said on that. Um, yes, it is. If if what they refer to as vegan food now, then yes, I could say yes, it is making people sick because vegan food as it is now is really used as a means to sell products to people. What they're really selling is stimulants and not food. Because food, as it should be, well defined, should be a substance that nourishes your body from a cellular level, on a cellular level. Most of what is being sold now is just saying the percentage. I don't know if that percentage will be correct, but as far as I'm concerned, yeah, probably it is right. About 98% of them, they're not selling food; they're selling stimulants, and stimulants are addictive. And a lot of these people really are totally unaware, but really and truly, some of them really can't even help themselves. People might say different, but really and truly, they are addictive on a cellular level. So I was saying something to some session the other day, saying that a lot of the food that they're selling, even the so-called vegan food, the tofu and all of that, really and truly, it is addictive. So even with the whole chicken and stuff, people would be eating chicken all day in the morning for breakfast, stew chicken, curry chicken, whatever. And then lunchtime is the same thing. Um, Dinner time is the same thing. And then they probably going home and eat the same thing, but still they'll stop and buy KFC before they go home or something from one of those places that actually sell um, animal protein. Um, Vegan food back in the days, which was not so long ago, really and truly. Um, it was really, when you say vegan food, you're talking about something that is natural. And when I use the word natural, even though the word natural is being skewed a lot in terms of when you say natural, natural can mean something that is synthetically produced. And they put that on labels and people see it and think it is natural. When I speak of natural, I'm speaking about something that's made by the hands of the creator that give life to all things, seen and unseen. Talking about natural stuff that has the CHO chain, which is what all your food should have at the base of it: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It should be able to be broken back right down to carbon and go back into the soil to nourish life again. But what we're getting now is mostly synthetic. And most people, because as you were saying earlier on, and I heard everybody had kind of touched on that from the bit and piece that I got, convenience. Um, People will just go with stuff because it's always convenient, and then they see it on the label. Yeah, yeah, man, it's natural, man. Yeah, it's organic. That is another word that is used to sell stuff. Organic, because the same players that were selling the poison are the same players that have now chimed in on the the healthy explosion, and they're basically still, feeding in one and poisoning the other. It's like a hyena. It laugh and bite you, growl and bite you. So that's what's taking place. And then because the ones that do control the food and advertising of said food, everybody's in a race for a slice of people's stomach. And so there are some people think because they know that we're not, most of us is not going to even really check in on it or even, which you don't even really have to do much research where that is concerned. I mean, you have information at your fingertips that you can actually look. You can just go right there on the label, you can Google it and see, what these stuff actually mean or what is contained in these stuff. But don't want to stray too far. But vegan food back in the days, really, you get an apple from a tree. And Jamaica is blessed with that. Blessed with you can be just driving down to the country, or even in the same place in Kingston, here around and about, and you see fruit trees just along the roadside, or some you can get a fruit. You can pick a fruit which is not tampered with in any way, shape, or form, that you will get the full gamut of nutrition from. Um, we still have vendors and that actually grow stuff without using any chemical fertilizer on it. So we still have that remnant of what natural food and what real vegan food should really be still available. But the new stuff now that they're selling, um, that's not vegan food. That's really stimulant. And yes, I would say that vegan food is making people sick. But if you should go back, take a step or two back to what we used to eat growing up. You have guineas around, you have mango, you have papaya, you have star apple, you have banana, um, you name it, rose apple for people who live near a river or something like that. You used to could even get watercress by the river. Um, there's a myriad of things. Even if you want to go with even say eating meat, people grow yard fowl, the white what there's white chicken nose, I remember I call it machine chicken. So there's a whole lot that can be said, and then with these food now, there's a lot of hormones being pumped into them, a whole lot of hormones being pumped into these so-called food which are stimulants, and then people eat that, and that those hormones, those antibiotics now become a part of their cellular structure, and it causes them to have an addiction or this addictive affinity towards these food, and they don't even know why. They just feel for it because most of these food they don't have an off switch. So you'll be eating it, 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 and you eat it and you still feel for it. It doesn't have an off switch because most of these foods they're not natural in every sense of the word. If you really look at the word natural, it's not natural. It's heavily tampered with. So
But
I don't know. It's just
Naal, you mentioned how blessed we are in Jamaica because we can literally just drive around the country and there's food growing everywhere, free food even, food growing wild,
well,
food you
you
can
know me and
beg.
the free food. You know
Yeah.
me and the free food already.
But
I can point out a lot of
one of the things I've observed with Jamaicans more and more, especially the more this concept of vegan, the modern concept of vegan food, people don't know what food is.
exactly.
So it's so funny when Daniel said that, sometimes she feel lazy and she doesn't want to cook. But I'm at my healthiest when I don't cook because all I have to do is eat fruit. But people are very reluctant to accept that fruits is a whole food. So this is part of how they get catch now with this vegan food movement because there is this obsession, real obsession with meat replacements,
Yeah, yeah,
protein. So everybody they want to have beans for breakfast. They want to have a bag of nuts with their cereal. They want to sprinkle walnut and almond milk cereal with this and that. They want to blend now what they call vegan protein shake. And when you look at the ingredients, it's about 1 million different peas plus
yeah,
soy plus grains. You see? So
yeah.
so so it becomes problematic even when these foods are, as you said, so-called organic, which we know is doesn't really mean organic, so-called natural, which we know doesn't really mean natural. But because people are obsessed, they want a vegan meal that looks like their KFC meal. They want their vegan dinner to look like what them Sunday dinner look like. So they have to fry up and brown stew something to make it look like meat and eat it with the rice and peas and plantain. So instead of having just half portion of starch, now they have a full plate of starch, which is part of the problem, which is why a lot of them observe that they get sicker because before they would have maybe chicken, but now they're having soy, rice, plantain, cabbage, carrot. So it's even worse than before. What are your thoughts on that? This obsession with meat substitute
Yeah,
and
it's getting.
protein and all that.
When their obsession, I'm sure they themselves cannot explain. As I said, meat. When you look at meat, and when you speak of protein, protein is synonymous with meat, animal flesh, animal fiber. The thing with that is with meat, it actually we're not even addicted to the meat. We're not even attracted to the meat. Actually, what we're attracted to, most people are totally oblivious to. Our body is craving the iron that's in the blood in the meat. That is what you're actually craving, not the meat itself. Because I was saying to somebody, if I put down a leg or two leg of chicken, not cooked or anything, I probably just season it up and just leave it there, and I put on a bowl of fruit next to it. I can guarantee you my my 9 to 5 salary for the rest of the year, that you're not going to eat that chicken that I put there. You're going to go for the fruits. The thing is that meat has in what you call non-heme iron. Non-heme iron does not have an off switch at all. That is why you constantly crave it. They'll crave it and they don't know why they're craving it. They think that they like meat, but we do not like meat. They actually, your body is craving the iron that's in the blood, that's in the meat, and it does not have an off switch. Plant-based food, on the other hand, when I say plant, it's not talking about natural plant-based food that has iron in there in its natural form. It has an offset. So you find that as much as I love mangoes, if I eat like five, six, or even a dozen, as I love mangoes, I eat like a dozen mango. No, me not eat no more. Me no want no more until tomorrow. It has an off switch. When I go eat 1 dozen mango, no one them go home and eat another dozen or 2 dozen. I mean, eat a dozen, I don't really feel for more for the rest of the day. I've had enough. But most of these food, and even with soy as well, because most of these are stimulants, and uh, I'm saying all this to say this. The, the biggest challenge I have in getting people, our brothers and sisters, to understand that what they're actually putting in their mouth is poison, is letting them have in their mind to start think, and even to think for themselves, to look at what you're actually eating is not good for you. Actually dig in your grave with your teeth. Even if you stop eating meat, yes, they want something to look like the meat. And guess what? They can have something that actually represent that as well, but in a healthy form. So if you really want to go with something that actually looks like your rice and peas and whatever chicken, you have mushrooms. And that's why mushrooms have different flavors and different tastes. You have a portobello that can taste like beef, if you will, if you want to, if you season it up with the same plants. You have oyster
Lion's
mushroom.
mane.
You have lion's mane. You have a mushroom which you won't find probably in the commercial, and you'll probably have to go farmers market, chicken of the woods or chicken of the wood that tastes just like chicken. You have king
Yo,
oyster mushroom that have
brother,
the lobster
me
and
try
the
that
and
one
the
there.
um and the crab taste.
Me say me try that one, brother. Me swear say I me eat it though.
Exactly. You
Me
have that.
get
Yep,
introduced to that
exactly.
one.
Exactly. If you want the whole rice thing, you can either cook your quinoa and you mix it with some chickpea. Of course, you're going to soak the chickpea. If you can have time, you can let it sprout. And you can have your rice and peas right there, and your mushroom as a meat as chicken, so you can still have it. But the information that is being disseminated to our people now, even amongst our own people disseminating information, they're really just in it just for probably the likes of the name. They're not really sending out the information so we can really and truly benefit from real, true, solid information. So yes, you can come off the carnivore diet and still have something that, if you wanted, so-called, if you wanted to remind you of that, you can still have it, but in a healthy form, that when it gets into your body, you will have chemical affinity. You won't have this stress food, because that is what most of us are eating. We walk around stress every day. We don't know that we're stressed. I say, "Ah, we're eating vegan food, but you're still fat. You can't lose weight because basically you're still consuming a lot of stuff that is not natural. It's inorganic food that you're still consuming. Because organic food is supposed to let you feel that way. It's supposed to feel energized. It's supposed to get eat a plate of vegan food, if you will, in every sense of the word that it's supposed to be, and still get up and run, jump a fence or something. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to give you energy. Food is supposed to be fuel for your body. And when it comes to fruits is the highest energetic food you can find on the face of the earth. And I can argue that we're the best at it. Fruits has everything that you need, and we have a myriad of fruits.
So
Fruits,
Naal, I'm going to put you on the spot then, since you say you can argue it. Um, Certainly with the a lot of the clients I have, even where they accept that fruits are nutritious and are good, they're saying that they don't want to be skinny. They don't want to look like junker out for draw them way.
Bamboo shoot,
Okay,
alfalfa
okay.
sprout,
How do you I mean
All
we are
right.
African people. We like to
alfalfa
be
sprout, and bamboo
All right.
swaggerific.
shoot.
I guess what?
Women like the curves.
It all. Oh well, I love to see the ladies with the curves. That's for sure. But anyway, that is a matter of information because guess what? If we're going to say that, our ones, not you necessarily you, Fisher, but the people are going to say that yeah, they don't want to be skinny. Guess what? Initially you will be. Initially you will be. But guess what? If you go and ask the gorilla, the silverback gorilla, what they eat,
Thank
why they're
you.
so big. They're so big and muscular. Probably they can root up a medium-sized tree, flip over a medium-sized one easily. What do they eat? They
Bamboo
eat
shoot.
fruits, bamboo shoots,
Mm,
fruits, and nuts, all day, and some greens. That's what they eat,
yeah,
and they are the closest thing to us in terms of being
exactly.
primate, in terms of body setup and being vertical and all of that. So the same food that you actually, these fruits that people are against, is and it goes back to even understanding human physical biology because the same food that will make you lose the weight and they say making skinny, you can build off that same food. It's just that probably there's an improper combination of food why you're not building, you can build most of those same food. It's just that you have to make sure that you have the four keys of your body that's operating properly. That is digestion, absorption, utilization, and elimination. If you have those four keys going properly, you can build off those same fruits just the same. You can build muscle off. I know of brothers and sisters that build, you would think that they're actually eating meat. They look muscular and strong, just eating fruit, just being fruitarians, ripped, six pack and all. So if the four keys are not working as they should because your body is a data processing plant, an information processing, bioelectric processing mechanism, if you will. Whether it want be food, whether it want be information, or whatever be what you see, it's all information. Your body processes. Food is supposed to be fuel, and that fuel, the fuel for if you ask that the average black man and black woman, what's the food of the black man? They can't tell you. They will tell you
If
the
you,
meat and the rice and the this and the cassava and the yam and all that. And all that is not food for us
no,
because we have the highest melanin carbon content, and as such, our food supposed to be of the highest energetics, and fruits give off the highest energetic, which is they calculated in instroms. You have 12,000 instroms of energy that you get from fruits.
And your food
Coming
has
down
been
from that,
cooked in
vegetable, you get 9,000 instroms of energy from vegetable. When you get down now to the
16. How
grains and
much
all
they
them
say?
something there,
How, mu-
it goes way down to even 15,
how much they say?
1500
How much?
instrom.
Yeah, 15.
Fruits
Yeah,
have 12,000. Fruits have
12,000.
12,000 instroms of energy, and
Cause what we
we
call
naturally give off
melanin is
about
sugar.
seven. We now naturally give off about seven to 9,000 instruments of energy. So wouldn't it behoove us to eat something that gives off a higher energetics than we naturally produce ourselves? But because
Well, I will
this information
say
is not.
what I will say, and it supports your position regarding information too. I always knew that milk thistle, for example, was very good to cleanse the liver. What I didn't know was that milk thistle is a builder and is
Yes,
actually
it is.
used by bodybuilders.
Mm-hmm.
And I started taking a tincture of milk
Mm-hmm.
thistle recently. And me have to cut down to how me I get big.
Yeah,
And this
man.
is just this
And
is
there
a plant.
exactly,
But
and there are
I
quite a
want to
few herbs
ask
that do that.
something. I want to ask something for Daniel because Daniel is a nutritionist, and she works with a lot of Jamaican clients, and I think she understands a lot of the queries too, especially being a nice, pretty country girl. Daniel, putting you on the spot. Is it realistic or is it unfair for us to make recommendations like, you know, oyster mushroom, quinoa, and chickpeas to the average Jamaican? that can barely afford a can of sardine. It sounds almost, and this is no shade to you, Nahal, I'm just being a devil's advocate here.
No, no,
It
no, no, no.
almost sounds like we're getting into the realms where plant based is going to be limited to
yeah,
people
what?
who have money.
All right, all right. Keisha, let me interject quickly
Okay,
because
okay,
probably
no
much of
problem.
soon. I understand. All right, all right. The thing was that I just pointed that out to let you know, let it be understood that yes, you can still have that reminder or that whatever memory of what the whole carnivore diet is. But still, guess what? Even if people cannot afford that, and I'm aware of the economics that people are not able to afford stuff like that. But guess what? I still no excuse because you still have pumpkin, you still have you still have that chocha, you still have banana you can use, you still have people can you can still even dabble with sweet potato as long as it's the one that looks yellow, not the white one when you cut it. You
Naal,
still have callaloo, you still have callaloo, you still
I'm
have
gonna
Mm-hmm.
challenge you.
quite a
I'm
few
gonna
stuff.
challenge you, Naal. Realistically.
And then fruit the tree.
No, listen. No, we have to be
Right.
realistic. So a friend of mine, I remember a lady said to me once that
I still want
bulgur.
to answer though, Kish.
Yeah, man, no problem. A lady said to me, bulgur is poor man's quinoa. And I said, but bulgur is very unhealthy. And she said, you can't stay there. Me can't stretch quinoa for my them. Furthermore, if I'm introducing vegan food to my family, I have to start somewhere. So you, Keisha, can stay there and I talk about quinoa and this and mushroom and all of that. But I have to make my money stretch. So me
No.
have to get my
What?
yam,
And
me have to get my dasheen, and me
right.
have to eat little bulgur
and
and little
and
soy sitting chunks,
and that
veggie
is
chunks and them something there. So
and
how
and that is
realistic are we?
and that is totally understandable from that point of view. But guess what? What they're also totally oblivious to and unaware of, it's the damage, the long-term damage that these food will cause. Not if you know, will cause by eating that, because you're actually damaging your kidneys and adrenals. You're messing up your endocrine system, you're messing up your circulatory system, you're messing up your nervous system, because those systems are the systems that will be attacked by these foods.
All right.
And as I said, information is key. So even if you're not able to afford certain things, I always tell people, arm yourself with the necessary information that you can start making better choices. Yes, you go through the transition moment, but arm yourself with necessary information so you can make better choices as to what
I,
you put in your mouth,
I,
and by
I,
extension to
oh,
your using
sorry.
as well. You can go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
want to give like a personal example now. So, like I said, at one point when I was training as a professional athlete, I went vegan for a year, right? So I had a lot of injuries. So I tried different diets, and one year I went vegan, and I would go to Coronation Market every week and get my produce. And whenever, typically, I always cook. And when people come over, I feed my teammates Sunday dinner. I will cook and invite people to eat. And I remember my friend, this girl that was training up at UTech with us, she just came back from foreign, so she never had any place to stay, and she stayed with me for about a month. And the first week, she was so resentful because I was cooking vegan stuff. And she would be so upset at the thought of me making vegetables for her every day. And then, after, she never had any choice because she didn't broke, she just come back. So she just had to eat what I had. And then after a while, she's like, so girl, make no more of this, because now she's like, she never know that vegan food can be so filling, can taste so
Yeah.
good. And I even had my
I
own
need to jump
brother.
in on this.
Yeah, and then I even had my own brother come from Portland to stay with me in Kingston sometimes. And when he came the first time and encountering my new vegan lifestyle, him start cuss. I said, what kind of F for this? We want real food. And then he's looking at the portion size that it's smaller than when used to the big plate of rice and the big, the chicken and the gravy. And so I give him what I have, and he eats it, and him belly full, and him don't know why. But I, you know that, for example, quinoa, you guys were mentioning, is a complete plant protein, and so it has a high satiation. So you're gonna feel full, just like when people eat ice cream and fatty stuff, they feel fuller than when they eat something else. So even
But
another friend of mine who, have a bag of pitney, and they were wasting a lot of food and wasting a lot of rice. And I said to the person, you know, he said the kids don't eat quinoa. I said, you don't give them the quinoa straight. I show him, say, you just take this much, sprinkle it in per, like maybe say, quarter cup of quinoa to 1 cup of rice. Them can't see it, them can't taste it, but them belly are go full. And you don't have to full up your plate. And, he tried it. And the kids couldn't finish the food with the quinoa in it. Because it's so small and unassuming, but it's packed. It's packed with so much nutrients that you're gonna feel full. And so when people say, the question that Keish was asking about, is it realistic to expect Jamaicans to eat quinoa? I think it is. I think when
very,
I was
very,
going to
very.
church, when our family, we grew up Seventh Day Adventists, when we were going to church, one big day after one Sabbath, the next week everything at the house is all wheat, bare veggie mince we eat. Our whole family went drastically vegan immediately before we started to phase in meat because it wasn't sustainable for us. But we to this day I can't even look at white bread. I can't even eat certain things. I've dabbled away from religion for how long, and I still haven't had pork. And so I think Jamaicans are fully capable of adapting the vegan diet because we adapt everything else. We're expensive. Krispy Kreme is not cheap. You know, those things are not cheap. KFC is not cheap. Those things are not cheap. It's just the effort to actually go that mile in caring for yourself and what you put into your body. And I think a lot of people just suffer from all sorts of reasons why they they just don't care. And I hear people talk this fatalistic talk, we all are gonna dead anyways, or them just want to enjoy them
Hmm.
life, make them eat what them addicted to. And so I think there are so many factors that come into play, but I don't think it is far fetched because we are a people who will spend money for what we want. As soon as people hear, no matter how many times them get scammed, as soon as one next agency pop up for opportunity for go foreign, everybody are gonna find the 200,000 to pay for. People who can't even find 5 grand for do something simple. Them are gonna find the 200 grand for an opportunity to foreign, no matter how many times they get scammed by these agencies. So people spend money on what they want. And point in case too, people who are ailing, a lot of them will spend their thousands of dollars on medications, and then when they realize that death is creeping up on them and them are go dead anyway, them start say, all right, let me go try the bush. No. And so we know, I don't know if this is inadvertently going back into anti-blackness or what it is, but you guys get the point.
Yeah, I wanted. I do agree in the sense of realistically, it is difficult for a minimum wage family of say two or three to go to the supermarket and buy quinoa. It's like it's madness. And even the health institution is a business, so they don't charge them $10,000 a pop. Them charge them $200 a pound, or $150 a Andrews. You know, doctor visit $4,000 once a month, rated, and it covers certain things. Health insurance take little from you. When Miss Chin and health food store want to go their money one time, right? But the key thing about the difference between vegan or what vegan is doing is that vegan is is taking us away from nature and some basic and simple thing, right? All right. Now, for a quick example, my uncle, he doesn't work. He doesn't have a 9 to 5. According to the statistic, he's below the poverty line. Below the poverty line. He is never out of food. He is never out of herbs. And I'm not talking about food where people they sit on the corner side of sell. I'm talking about top end food, avocado oil, castor oil, um, grape tomatoes, mushrooms. These are the food that he has growing around him. No, he is the only one doing all this by himself. What doesn't happen is that a minimum wage family don't find people like him and say, I'm coming there once a week, or I'm sending $500 so you can buy gas to use the wicker to cut out the field. And all we want is corn because he gives away food daily. People stop at his house for food. That's what they stop for. Working people. People who are going to 9 to 5 stop at his house for food. Alwyn, based on sour something, no? Based on pear, no? We have Robert, they stop at his house for food and he doesn't work. So Ital, or what the elders used to call it, no nyam flan flan road, don't nyam garbage, it would cause you to plant something. It would lead you to go to somebody who is already planting something. And then now you could afford to buy an imported stuff. Like a quinoa. You could afford to buy a baklava agave because most of your sweeteners grow on tree. Banana, mango, thinking too, all these things grows on trees. But vegan means that we don't have to do these things. Everything is come packaged for us. So we don't need to go to the farmer to assist him. We don't need to go to the man on the middleman to the farmer to assist him or to buy from him. We don't need to pressure him to say, we want our dry jelly. When we come to you, dry coconut, we want it ox out and put it in our bag for me and me carry it to you and me give you an extra $50. We don't want that, so we're not going to pressure our farmers or help them to come up with new produce or products for us. Vegan, additionally with people, and I said the Seventh Day Adventist question, additionally with Seventh Day Adventist, because Seventh Day Adventist is or the religious concept is more of a higher spiritual religious being. So it doesn't have nothing to do with necessarily to push to go farming. So that is why Seventh Day Adventist was the first person to bring in junk food or junk vegan food, chunks, mince, tofu, these things. It wasn't in line with nature, right? So we can eat the poor people food because quinoa is poor people food in South America, and teff is poor people food in Ethiopia, and fonio is poor people food in Senegal. but we don't have nothing to trade with these people with, because we don't we don't want to farm. You know, we think that if we do a certain profession, it doesn't mean we have to farm. And back in the days, if you're a tailor, the
Paul.
tailor has his farm, the dressmaker had his farm, the the doctor had his farm, or the physician has his farm. Everybody had to have their farm. Why? Because everybody eats. And back then, nobody had cars, nobody had blenders, nobody had oven that keep the heat in, and yet still they were eating from their farm. So we have absolutely no excuse. Oh yes, they had 14 children. So we have absolutely no excuse now for not to be eating as healthy as possible. Um, but additionally, there's a final point. Additionally, the abnormality that we are, the person them who don't either know about vegan healthy food and try to go towards it, are the ones them that is fully alkaline or vegan or ital. These are abnormal people in this society, and we do have time to study abnormal people. The mass of the people is acting normal because KFC spend millions to billions of dollars to make sure that these people act a certain way. We are just a little bit off. I don't know what's wrong with we. I don't know what's wrong, but the mass of the people go that way. So that is where I think our main attention should be: how to get, or how to compete, or how to open the mind of the mass of the people to some basic things. As I say, dandelion coffee is being grown where at my uncle's backyard. Like he doesn't even grow it. He doesn't even water it. And dandelion coffee is $2,000, 14 ounce in the supermarket. That's rich people food. So we have to that is why Ital was very important, because Ital kill economy, Ital kill capitalism. you know Veganism is going to promote capitalism
Well,
and
I
an
I
unhealthy
think those
lifestyle.
were some really good points, Kush, and yeah, I like a lot of what was said. My concern, though, Danny, about what the example Daniel gave is, unlike what Kush said, there seems to be a compromise with your health in those examples. So if I'm going to mix quinoa with rice to make it stretch, I'm introducing mucus into my diet, right? So it's still going to lead us back to the topic at hand, where your vegan food is going to eventually make you sick. Because if the only way I can eat quinoa is if I stretch it with rice, then it not really make no sense. I might as well save my quinoa money and just eat the rice. At
Very
least that's
true.
Who
how
said
I
that?
see it.
Who
The
said that?
other thing though, Kush, the other thing which I think is problematic with your argument, certainly in terms of how we get across the message, you are talking about a natural lifestyle for people who are no longer living natural. The call center life, the corporate life is not a natural life. So you are seeking to recommend something that can't really fit into the modern day life, which of course we know it's making them sick. But at the end of the day, they're going to prescribe sick foods in order to get you through the sick life. That's why people are hooked on coffee. That's why people are hooked on sugar. Cause to sit around a desk all day, or to be in corporate meetings all day in necktie a choke you, and high heel shoe that's distorting your womb and distorting your spine. You're going to need stimulants, as Naal said. You're going to need stimulants to get through that unnatural way of being, right? A lot of the foods you talk about, a lot of the foods Naal talked about, these foods are diuretics. They're going to send you to the bathroom. They're going to send you to the toilet, to the number two frequently. You see? So we are talking about ways of eating that are natural and ways of living that are unnatural. And the two are competing. How am I going to, if I have back to back meetings all day as a corporate legal eagle in Digicel? How can, I don't have time to be going to the number two, three times. I can't open up my lunch kit. And when you look, is a thinking toe. You see? So how do with natural food? Am I making sense? Please, anybody
Yeah, I
respond.
understand what you're saying, Keisha, but guess what? It is possible. And the reason why I know it is possible, it all goes back to really the information, really and truly, because the reason why a lot of people behave the way they do, apart from the fact that they have been artificially induced into eating these food without even their knowledge, because convenience, of course, and I understand the whole corporate world and stuff. But guess what? One of the things I also even, share with people is that most of the time people hear me talk. I'm not a big speaker, but I'm passionate about this.
Sorry, Naal.
Because
Can you speak up a bit? Naal, can you speak up a
no,
bit? I'm
oh,
not hearing you so well. So can you
okay.
speak up
I
a
don't know
bit?
if my battery is going low. You hear me better now?
Yes, much better.
All right. Okay. I said part of the thing that I would tell people, as I say, I don't know if you hear me initially. I was saying with the corporate thing and eating proper, proper and natural, or proper, if you will, in which one of them, it is very possible. It all goes back to me, I think, the information that is disseminated to people. But one of the things that I tend to tell people a lot of times now is that most of the time when you hear when I speak, I'm not saying it to you for you to stop eating what you're eating, because people are not going to stop just like that. They're going to stop on their own accord, even if I furnish them with all information, and I have with many, 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 many people, more than I can count. It's I kind of lose my train of thought, but I get it back. Um, I'm telling you what to eat, not for you to stop eating it, but for you to know what you're putting in your body, and the information that I give to you, what you do with it, it's totally up to you. Because as I say, you can lead a horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink. But it is very possible, because I know people that are in the corporate lifestyle that do eat plant-based plant-based way. And as a plant-based, it don't have to be quinoa and teff and fonio, and because most people don't even know how to source it or where to find it a lot of the times. But I'm saying, we have stuff. You have your fruits, and if people know how to combine them, it won't be sending you to the bathroom when you want to be in a meeting and stuff like that. So the information is also very is I think that's the primary thing, and people understanding also the physical biological makeup of the human being, and what is really food, what is really and truly food, not this garbage that we're eating thinking that is food because it is advertised and promoted to us using sound therapy, using color therapy, um, and all of those stuff that people are totally unaware. That is for another topic or another discussion because people are induced into taking and eating a lot of these things, and they don't know why because of sound therapy and color therapy, and also foods are being laced with aborted baby kidney cells food that also will produce that addictive effect. But don't want to stray off topic, but it is possible that we can actually lead that to the whole corporate thing, and you can still eat of a plant based live it. I don't even like to call it a diet because diet is what has been killing us.
So
We want
talk to me.
live
So
food.
talk to me
We want live
practically now,
food.
Naal. Talk to me practically. If I am taking dandelion and I have back
Mm,
to back meetings all day,
mm,
dandelion makes me my bladder work overtime, right? As we know, it's
mm.
a diuretic.
Yeah. Ease
Um,
off of the
how
well.
how do we say if for example you recommend to someone and them say, yeah man, Kush, you're right. I should have dandelion coffee or I should
Mm.
have dandelion tea or nettle or whatever, and they take it and they realize that in the middle of their presentations they have to be running to the bathroom. How do we market that as something feasible or attractive?
Is it that drastic though?
It's not drastic, really. I mean, there's a thing called a circadian rhythm, and if you can follow that, and based upon the times that, as I say, Keisha, no information. Um, it all goes back to your body functions off a 24-hour clock, just like how the earth does, the rising and the setting and the sun, the moon come out, the stars, the constellations, all that stuff, all of that, the body function kind of the same way. You do the sleep wake pattern and all that. Your body tend to do the cleansing, repairing at certain times, the elimination at certain times, and that is in and of itself as well is information that I also inject into reasoning and talking to people, and like me just give information free to any listening ear. Not really matter to me as long as you want to make that change. And that is another thing too. You have to want to make that change. So even if you're in the corporate thing and you definitely want to make that change, you yourself, that individual or individuals want to make that change. No amount of corporate meeting or nothing now go interfere with that at all because now you have mentally prepared yourself. So look at this method. So you will get the necessary information so you can structure how you take this thing. And yes, the dandelion is good, the sarsaparilla is excellent. There are other herbs that will not produce that heavy diuretic effect, and you will still get very nourished and very energized from taking them. It's just a matter of the information. So even with that, even with not with that, you can still have your dandelion tea same way. You just structure how you drink it. So if you have the meat at a certain time, you take it, and then you can know how your body operates because herbs will react different to each individual. Some people might have to take more to get a certain reaction. Some people will take half of what another individual will take and they get a certain reaction. So I normally tell people just take it and then you'll see how it functions. Then you can know when and how much to take at what point. And if you have meetings or whatever you have at a certain point, you can structure your thing around that. The same energy that we put into other things is the same energy you put into that as well. You're doing it for self. As I was talking to some ladies that I know them laugh. They think I'm just hilarious when I'm saying, I say, look, the same energy you put into say you meet this new brother. You make sure say everything is proper, everything is in order. Hair done, nails, whatever. If you do nails and stuff like that, your natural hair, we get the nicest hairstyle, legs shave. All them little thing that you do, whatever. I says the same energy that you put into self. As no different energy. It's the same energy. If you want to get it done, you will get it done. If you want a car, you used to eat certain places that, probably 3, 4 times a week, or cut it down to 1 time a week. You still want to look at flat screen now, want to look at current TV for who watch TV and want that kind of vibes. You gotta make sure you put at the same, is no different energy, it's the same energy that you will apply. You'll do what is necessary to make it work. You'll do what is necessary to make that happen. So there's no different energy really. People are just always looking for an excuse to continue doing the crap that they're doing, and there's no better way for me to say it. And I can furnish you with all the information that you need, everything, tell you how to do it, when to do it, how to do it, what not to do, when to take, all of that. And not just me, you Keisha, you Kush as well, Daniel as well. You can furnish people with all that information. But if you do not apply said information that I give to you, because for whatever reason, that means you're really and truly not ready to make that change. You the individual have to make that change. Then it will be easy for individual or individuals like me to disseminate certain information to you, and it's usable information that you'll be able to use and get the results that you want. Because there's no miracle to this. This is no miracle. There's no miracle to this at all. It's cause and effect. Cause and effect. And you don't have to go very far. The body is a bioelectric plant. It's a bunch of cells wrapped in two fluids. That's it. You don't have to go very far. One feed the cells, which is the blood. One cleanses the cells, the lymph system, and it wraps around all the cells in the body, organ systems, and everything. And if people understand how the body functions in an acid medium. So whatever you put in your body is going to break it down in the acid medium anyway. And but the body is made alkaline, but it will function in acid medium to break down all these information, to use it, break it down to its simplest form, which is really sugar. Now, anything you eat is going to turn to sugar anyway. Even if you're eating crap, it's going to turn to sugar. Just that sugar will be highly acidic, a poly. That's a
Boy, brother,
polysaccharide.
now I hear you, and I agree with you, and I am in 100% support of this lifestyle. But when
Keep it
I
simple.
think, for example, a couple years ago, when it came out that the black women that were being hired, for example, by some of these Chinese wholesale owners, were not even being allowed a bathroom break. And when I hear of the reports of what goes on in the call centers, on the hotel property with hotel staff, with our
Mm.
young black people, and the realities of their work structure, what they can bring into the building, when they get breaks, these things are strictly um monitored, right? So it's all well and good to say we can eat according to the circadian rhythm, and we need information, and
Hmm.
I agree. But if we are truly intent on stemming what we see, where people are getting sick from vegan food and whatever, soy and sugar and starch, there is an element of meeting the people where they are, which is perhaps goes back to Daniel's point about the rice and the quinoa. Or how out of touch we are. It kind of it's giving elitism, it's giving bourgeoisie, it's giving privileged. How realistic is it for the average black Jamaican person living on the borderline of poverty? And it's fine, it's all well and good to say people in the country, Kush. But what about the people living in slave quarters,
Mm.
basically slave quarters in Kingston? How
But
does that
sister,
work?
Well,
the
the
same
thing
way,
is,
the same way, them people there, they always find money to go show up at a party. Me there, and some people reach out to me and say, "Hey, Chris Brown, I have a concert at Jamaica, and them call me to consult me to say where them to go down there." And I say, "Look here, A years me no go a yard. I say me no know nothing about nothing about the concert. As a matter of fact, if you didn't tell me, I wouldn't know about it. Whatever. People find money for what they want to find money for, right? Even the same poor people, you will see them at a party or whatever, do other things, or you see them in the latest clocks, or you know what I mean. So, like the brother said, if people really want to do it, then we find a way, man. We
Exactly.
can't come up with
They
every
will.
solution for every micro problem. And look on it too. Look on the reverse of that. Nobody didn't have to convince them or tell them to go eat the foolishness. And them eat it willfully. And when them a eat the foolishness, me not hear nobody come and ask, this really good for you? It really healthy? That's the part where blow my mind. Me a eat good and me a tell you say when me a eat good. But the crap where you a eat, you don't question it, but you want to question the good food when me a offer to you as an alternative. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. Keisha, I don't mean to cut you, but even though I go even as far as I'll tell people, because a lot of time people don't really want to reason with me. They say me too strict. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, or
You're strict
whatever
man.
it is. Eh? So I've been told. So a lot of people shy away from talking. And the reason why they will, because I'm not one of those that's going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what it's supposed to be. Then you do what you have to
I know
do.
that.
But I'm
I
not
know
going to
that,
sugarcoat
brother.
it. I'm not
I
going
know,
to sugarcoat it. Put
I
it
know
that
that,
way.
brother. People indisciplined. So guess what? They make excuse for their foolishness. So when you come now and go on with your big speech and
Exactly.
talk the truth, them can't go around the thing. So then now them have to make up
Exactly.
story when no exist.
Yeah.
Oh, now
Exactly.
you understand?
Yeah, you say make a good point.
Yeah,
Them
them can't
always
stay
try to find a
alive,
way to get them always try to find
get
a way
around
to
from the
get from
thing.
me, and they can't get from me. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
so
Them
now,
can't get from me none at all. So I even go to a point right now, Keisha.
excuse me.
I tell people,
So
all
that's
right,
why I know them a attack your character now, because them a realize
right.
that, well,
So
we not nothing good to say about this. So
I
now,
say,
him are the problem. You see?
yeah. So I tell people, look, all right, you eat chicken 7 days a week. All right, me go to this point today. You eat chicken 7 days a week. All right, designate. Give me one day. One day when you don't eat no chicken, none of them things there. And then tomorrow go back to where you eat regular. Skip out the next 2 days and get the one more day with no meat and none of them foolishness there. Then go back to where you do for the rest of the week then. Do it like that then. Normally, I may not tell people that, but me I try to be as realistic as possible. One does the one day. The one day with you just eat as much fruit as you want. If you want 20 salad for the day. If you want pile up 2 dozen mango or whatever, as much as you can put in your belly, eat that for the
Uh-huh.
whole entire day, just for that day. There. The next day for the next 6 days of the
They don't
week,
want to hear
go
that.
back and yam
They
your
know.
chicken or whatever. Next week again put a next day when you just eat no meat at all. I go to as far as that right now, just to
They
get
don't
people to
want to hear that.
understand.
They don't want to hear that. You know, see how much excuse. Look, nobody no give them. How come you not hear nobody all the years of data we have what we collect? For sure, say people who eat this away you keep on and get sick, and then people who eat the other way don't get sick. Look how them ignore the data there. But then when you go to them and I show them the food where data proves to keep people alive and healthier, look how them question it. Because people want to stay doing what them are do. It's not that people not have choice or they can't do better. People want to stay doing the bad things. It's simply as
Yes,
that.
You
habits
know the
are hard
line
to
in
break.
the line in Protege's song. I don't remember the first part, but him say
Mm.
something about man they are them hungry and food up
Yeah,
on
food that drop off
the
a tree
street.
a country.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, and
Yeah.
yes.
him say yes, he say poverty no real.
Poverty no
Then
real.
where the
Yes.
But guess
food
what?
them revealing.
He might talk about country. Me say fruits that drop off a tree a town right in a Kingston. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
turn carpet underneath the tree. I mean, I talk
yeah.
about Black Man. I mean, I talk about Julie, East India, and Bombay under the tree like carpet.
Yes, and then would have rather
And
then would have
nobody
go in at
now
the
pick them.
store. Then would I go in
Yeah.
at the store, go pick up,
Uh,
go. They see a mango way out there, so when they walk past for free. Then we go in at the store now, one complain say too expensive. They see a mango and I talk about it too expensive, them
Exactly.
can't afford it. So that's why
So
I not
yeah.
really
So you
follow that.
and you
You have
find
some
that.
genuine people. You have some genuine people. Me not go dismiss it. You have some genuine people who really have it hard like that. Want to better and can't do it. But it is very small. It is not a, usually when you find people like that in that position, then probably have some mobility issues. Them can't really get around, whatever. But nobody can complain. We have internet now. The information is out there. We have people like you who are create spaces like this where show the thing, but people don't want change. So it's not a matter of the uprising, we need to do something different or what is a person. No. The people know what them to
the
do, but they
change,
just don't want to do it.
And
the
another
change come from
thing
the
too is
individual.
that, oh, who's that? Sorry.
Sorry,
No man,
Daniel.
no,
Yeah.
Daniel, I think
yeah man,
Daniel
go
wanted to
ahead,
jump
Daniel, go
in.
ahead. No man, go ahead, go
Yeah.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, sister.
Yeah. Another thing is that, a lot of people are, they're living for now. And to plant a planting sucker and think that, you know, them want food now, them want planting now. And so they rather go and buy the rice that's ready now. They would rather go and buy the KFC or buy the box food and deal with what they can get now than plant anything. You know. And then the funny thing is, these same people will take set on other people where take the initiative for just simply plant one pepper tree. All of a sudden, everybody want pick off the people in pepper off of them
Yeah,
plant where they're at the
yeah.
front of them yard. You,
Oh,
for
in bad
instance,
mind.
yeah.
In bad mind. You know, want
So
nobody eat our five fruit. And look, boy, me I tell you, man, them do a number upon us, we really need to do a study upon this system, what them do to it. Because we not right. We are walk around, be a mad people are walk around. Because sometimes me hear them same foolishness there. I mean, I say, people speak them things there with so much conviction, like they really believe the foolishness will come out of their mouth. Me have to tell her sister what they hear. Me say, so nobody not owe you nothing with all due respect. Me not understand. You did put money in other people pocket. So oh you want talk like say. You know what the woman turned to me and say people? The woman say me I talk like my white. And that the woman turned to me and say, come me now condone the foolishness where she a keep up. You see me? At them
yes,
madness they are going about the place.
yeah. So back to the whole argument of um not planting stuff or not eating, utilizing the fruits around them and stuff. So that's something that I guess we really need to look at, because regardless of income, and some people will sit
Mm,
and starve rather than walk and look for fruit trees. When I was younger,
yeah.
we couldn't hungry. We know we not get no snacks. We all right. If you start get hungry now, so one guava tree around there, so if a apple time apple tree they up there, so and you go pick
Right.
and you sort out yourself as a country youth. Nowadays it's like I don't know if it's a marker of poverty, when you're saying, is it realistic to expect poor Jamaicans to eat healthy? It's really not that hard. I think it's just what people are looking to as, for whatever reason, whether they just want to dissociate with farming because it's seemed as a poor activity, no matter how many rich farmers they are. I mean, I don't know if it's when you're at the lower end and you're trying to do it. I don't know what people are thinking, but whatever is causing them not to do it's a bad look. Because not only are they now dependent on the processed food and the quick and ready food that's not good for them, they're it's harming their bodies as well. So it's difficult to witness, and it's a serious issue. And then again, like I said, when you take up yourself and go and plant, you wake up right now. I have to watch my WhatsApp tree. Nearly have to put up
Mhm.
security. If me
And you
Yeah.
know
plant,
what funny?
Yeah.
They would have never help you plant one sucker or plant a tree or plant a seed.
No,
But then
they
can't do
don't.
that.
So
All right,
that's
I want to kind of shift the conversation to away from Jamaica to looking at more global realities, especially as it
Eh?
relates to Black people. We can readily accept that Jamaica might be blessed in many ways, but for a lot of people, for example, certain parts of Africa that were decimated by colonization, um, a lot of the trees and plants were uprooted. The mineral mining is a lot of poisoning of the ground, scorching the earth. These were real war tactics that have been
Like your glasses.
used on our people, and they may not have access to a lot of the fruits and plants or as readily as we do. So for these people, being vegan would perhaps result in some form of malnourishment, because then now we're talking about not getting enough fruits, not getting enough what they call B12, what they call iodine, outside of areas that are well fruited and outside of people that have access to a variety of plants. Do you think that for those people, a vegan diet would automatically lead to them being malnourished?
No, no. A vegan diet doesn't malnourish you. It does the opposite. It
So
actually
what if they
nourishes you.
can't
And
get fruits, Naal? What if the only thing
all
them
right.
have is cassava?
Um, well, guess what? Cassava is not naturally occurring. You have to plant it, and cassava is not a natural plant
I
anyway. It was
know, but
made
that's
in
what I'm
Portugal,
saying.
so it's not a
The
natural plant. But guess
Portuguese the
what?
Portuguese have planted
All
it
right.
up in Africa for years now, and they've
Uh,
decimated the plants.
yeah.
So these people in
But
these
get
areas, how do they access nourishment on a
all right.
vegan diet?
Okay. All right. Guess what, Keisha? I remember our last live when I was speaking on. I don't remember the topic, but that young lady from, I think it's from Ghana or somewhere in Africa, Grace or something like that. I don't remember her name. Actually, she that's something that Africans are big on right now, and it is really messing up the way they think and the way they behave. That thing they call cassava, they call it gari in some places in Africa. Them call it something that they made it they call fufu, but it's still thing. But guess what? Guess what? Also, just in kind of reasoning with her and stuff. I was telling her about Shamo lady, and I was telling her about nettle, and there's another plant named water leaf. Water leaf is like spinach. It's a natural spinach that blooms that look a purple white. Actually grows here in Jamaica as well. That is highly nutritious. Nettle leaves are very highly nutritious. And there's a particular, they have a wild grape that grows down there that grows big like globe grapes with seeds. Sauerkraut grow a lot in these areas. And remember, even with cassava being planted, the natural plants are still there, because one thing with natural plants, they're very prolific. So even if you want to root them up now or whatever, they're still going to grow because the seeds are scattered all over the place. So they will still have areas, might not be concentrated um in that a particular spot, but they will be around just the same. So it's just a matter of putting in that energy to to get them. But the natural plants are always still there, because cassava can't just be planted by itself. It's not going to survive. It has to have supporting plants around it because it's not natural. So it will have to have that natural environment in terms of the mycelium network to even support it, even though it is not natural. So natural plants are still around. Might not be a whole lot um in the present as it was before all these things were introduced, but it is still there. It is still there. All these natural plants and fruits are still there. And Africa has a whole lot of it, even with the areas that have been decimated, Congo and all that. It's not the entire Congo. the entire landmass of it or the entire landmass of these regions that has been decimated. And I'm just speaking like this still, but I'm speaking because of the awareness that natural plants will always be around. They'll always be around. Just that probably they are kept out of certain areas or they're not as much in certain areas. They probably have to travel a little longer distance. Even Jamaica, you have to stuff find even shame only the usual could have find a grow about the place. I have to go a little bit on the outskirts to find it, but it is still there. Certain things will still always be there. You can't get rid of it. There's no way you can get rid of it at all because the seeds, these plants produce thousands and thousands of seeds that will be scattered some way, shape, or form, and it will always grow. So the food is still there, But guess what? Guess what happens a lot? The mindset of the individual or individuals have been altered or changed because something foreign is introduced to them. So now they don't think that that particular food or whatever is there. But as soon as you probably get to have a little reason with them and point out that and that and that, it is still there. They go and find it. It is still there somewhere. It is still there. So I know that realistically, everybody won't be on it and everybody won't be vegan. That is unrealistic. But for who will get it, they will get it because it still goes back to the individual. What do you want for self? It still goes back to the individual just the same. What do you want for self?
Brother,
You know what I mean?
brother, when the people then want then crab, then shit crab, and all of them something they can they want eat like white man, then find ways spaghetti even if them have to put it in a ship and send it come to Jamaica, right? So why plant we grow naturally we are have so much hiccup to do it because we are trying to find excuses not to do it. You know what I mean?
I mean,
I mean,
convenience have made us lazy.
no convenience, because we can use the same logic of convenience. We say, you know what? All right, me I go planting. You plant
Mm-hmm.
some sweet potato. That's a
Mm-hmm.
convenience. We don't have to spend no money. We don't have to go to a grocery store. Every time you make a yield, you bring some, come give me. Every time me make a yield, me come bring some, come give you. And it's something we can be preserved very
Mm-hmm.
easily. You know what I
Bartering,
mean?
but no one barter with nobody.
No, they know that, man. Them we allow them to poison with mind, educate. Oh, you make your enemy educate your children, and then now then give it TV and then put for them programming funny. So they know you destroy the pin in their mind. Remember, I know
Mm.
when me I grew up, to tell anybody say you want to become farmer, you would be considered a dunce, right? You would be considered a non-ambitious nigger or whatever terminology you that they would have used depending on where you come from. You understand me? So all of the essential things for life, the fundamentals, them beat it out of we. Oh, where you want to be? Oh, you're supposed to be a lawyer, soldier, or doctor. Then who are going to feed them? How them are going to eat? A machine are going to plant the food or man?
Well,
Right?
my
A whole heap
machine
of
my plant the food.
foolishness. Then a who? And
Yeah.
even if machine are going to plant the food, who are going to program the machine? Who are going to create the code to teach the machine how to learn, etc. Right? So then keep on them brainwash we, trick we out of ourselves, and we buy into it. Cause me
But
remember, right now, me dey on a transition in my life with certain things. I mean I look back on it. I mean I say, but you know, say my grandmother really kinda weird though. Because we grew up with a farm in a backyard. Whole heap of things, fruit trees. Me never buy store-bought chicken in my life. Cause she have the chicken farm and all of them something there yard. Right? So I mean, I say, how comes you are tell me, say, me fi go to school and, me fi either go be doctor, lawyer, engineer, whatever. Me no fi come do what you do. But so you tell me fi give up my freedom and then go wait upon massa with a piece of paper now and massa determine whether I want to give me a job or not. So me I give somebody else my power whether me I go eat or not. You see me? And of them foolishness that trap the youths their mind and have the youths them a think say yo certain things went natural and normal in a life. We need to move away from it.
I think that in order for us to truly say that persons are not choosing themselves, we would have to establish that they know who self is. So many Africans and Jamaicans, you talk about white man food, O'Shane. So many Jamaicans, when they talk, it's hilarious to hear them because they'll say things like, everybody just eat pure KFC. Want to we good Jamaican rice and peas. No rice and peas. Rice come from China or India. Peas come from America. In nowadays peas that is being used. The kidney beans for the rice and peas. Saltfish come from Norway. So even the idea of what is our food, what is Jamaican food, going back to Africa, a lot of Africans think that cassava
Mm,
and yam is African food. Look at what is being
nice.
marketed as African food. So we can't say, in all fairness, that people are making a choice to choose white man food when they think that their food their food is Gary. They think that their food is yam and cassava. Jamaicans think that breadfruit is their food. Jamaicans think that breadfruit is good, healthy Jamaican food, even though it kill them. Good healthy this, good healthy that. Ackee and saltfish and dumpling. Where I go KFC for? You fi eat rice and peas. It's embarrassing. It's like black dog or monkey. Right? Is either you're going to get the cook Chinese food, or you're going to get the fast food. But there is no real knowledge of what our food is.
But how
You
you
know?
come up with it? How you find out the truth then? Answer that for a second. How you find out the information?
Well, it
Or
goes
how
back
you
to
come
what
to the
it goes back to
realization?
what I was harping on in the beginning, which is a lot of the source of these issues. The root of it is anti-blackness. And I was
Uh-huh.
raised by people who told me that blackness is the root and the crown. So even when I strayed, I always
That's
sought my
okay.
people,
Then,
right?
then not
But
that
how
me I tell
many?
your sister.
Huh?
Not that me I say. Look how much years me not touch yard. Over a decade, right? And me know them something where you talk about. I mean research and you hear people say things and then you get curious and you go look. I mean I say wait a minute. So this whole time them people here I tell man lie and foolishness about Aki and Salfish national dish and all of this foolishness. This shit
Yeah,
come
but
from
you
some
can't just
from Europe.
we're not gonna just limit it to saltfish, If we're gonna hold a reasoning, we have to be honest with ourselves. Because even the Ital cook shop, I sell breadfruit and yam, which is killing black people. It is killing black
Yeah, cause
people.
it's
So it's not
starchy.
limited to soy. The bag of starch and peas is still killing us. But we think that this is authentic Jamaican food. We think that this is authentic Ital food. So that even the
Because it come out of
Ital
the
food
ground.
cook shop is not safe.
That's why me push fruits. That's why me push fruits and vegetable. Like the brother explained earlier, it is the highest in terms of energy that we can consume, and melanin, when it is broken down, is really sugar.
Shane, I am saying that people think that breadfruit
Uh-huh.
is Jamaican food,
No, no, some
even though it
Spanish
a
people
kill them.
bring that come here. No Spanish people bring that come a yard.
But how many Jamaican people know that?
No, man, a
How many
common knowledge.
Jamaican people know that?
Them thing yeah, common knowledge now. I may say we have
No.
internet and thing now. Them thing they are common knowledge.
Daniel, help me with this one.
Them
How
thing they
many
are common
average
knowledge
Jamaicans,
now.
even in the country, are of the view that rice and peas and chicken, yam and 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 breadfruit are authentic, healthy Jamaican food? How many people are of that view?
I, I I think a majority of people think that that is the case, that breadfruit and yam and all of these starch are healthy foods. In fact, people will brag about not eating rice to solely eat a plate full of yam and cocoa and everything starch. So they I mean, granted that those foods actually have more fiber and they're still better than rice, but it's still starch. And then they're confused why they're not, you know, losing weight, or they're not feeling um a whole 10 yards better than they would expect by cutting out rice.
But
Well, look at something like cane juice,
Cane
right?
and cane juice, sugars, yes.
People think that Jamaican, the Ital food shop think that that is natural Ital Jamaican food,
Yeah, when I
and
go
it's
to
nothing but
places,
sugar. It's poison.
when I go to places and I don't eat sugar. So when I people are selling natural juice on the roadside and stuff, and I will see, say, all right, what kind of juice you have in there? I say, is sugar in it, sugar in it, sugar in everything. I say, I don't really drink sugar. I don't drink sugar, especially in a natural juice. Like, because when I make my natural juice, for example, all I have to do is add something like watermelon or pine or some kind of other sweet fruits, and that's it. I don't need to do anything to it. I just drink it like it is. So when I go, and every Jamaican was selling natural juice, it's sweetened so till all you're tasting is sugar. And I'm like, oh, them sweeten it with cane juice, and I'm like, it's still sugar. It's just it's just a liquid. It's still sugar though. And so
Brit,
people think that you're being a little bit extra when you bring up that kind of stuff. And regarding the breadfruit, that is something that's taught in our slave curriculum, right? When they're teaching us about out of many one people, they mention that breadfruit come from Philippines or wherever it come from, East Asia, and whatever else was brought on the boat by the Syrians and the Lebanese and these people. So people are, it's I think it's one of those fleeting things that, if you did a pay attention in a history class, they mention it one time, but because our culture, our hybrid culture, our modern culture, our Jamaicanness, we turn things into our own. So breadfruit just become fluting because we come from a hybrid of these people, right? We're out of many one people. So yes, breadfruit come from the Philippines, but it's Jamaican because Jamaican means out of many one people. So saltfish, I guess
the
saltfish.
foolishness.
I don't know if we have any real history of documentation of Norwegians being a significant group here, but I
No,
don't
no
know
slave master cousin, no
how
slave
how
master European settlers. What them
codfish
call call
became.
themselves settlers.
Yeah, I don't know how codfish became our national dish. I'm still puzzled because when I went to study overseas, and I would always be able to find saltfish, I would think, oh, saltfish, and then I realized that, wait a minute, it's not coming from Jamaica. It's not in the section that you find sorrel and yam and all the other things imported from Jamaica. It's coming from a different international section. So I was like, okay, saltfish comes from Norway. So I was like, how did it become our national dish? Because uh, it would be so bad and not so bad if it was one of the significant groups like Lebanese, Syrian, Chinese, Indian, those groups that are prominent here or recognizable here. But I'm still puzzled as to how saltfish became, you know, our dish. And then my favorite alternative to saltfish is red herring, and it's the same story with that. Um, as I don't know where it come from, but it's one of those processed foods. And just quickly, when you asked about the foods thing in Africa, the fruit situation in Africa, societies that for whatever reason, they don't have access to good food and nutrition. I was thinking about Haiti and those type of countries a few years ago, and wondering, like, think brainstorming solutions, like how can we help Haiti. Like, why are they still eating mud pancakes? Like, I don't understand. I understand that the charities are giving them um you know grains that are discarded from the US, which most charity food are waste food from first world nations. They're waste food, they're GMO corn that Americans don't want to eat, and they send them to these countries. So that's usually what's coming through Red Cross and those kind of international charities. So I was thinking from for our neighbor Haiti, I was brainstorming a couple years ago, like, how can I help Haiti? Like, how can people help Haiti? I was like, you know fruit
It's
trees.
sister. It's not
Yeah.
that Haiti need help, It's from back in the day when them defeat the French. They were put into heavy sanctions that are in place today. And there are sanctions where if me and you as a country decides that we want to go there and help them, then we in turn put sanctions on you too. So that is what caused them to be in a the situation where them in a because them defeat the old slave master and them are try to them punishing them feet, right? And that's why you see anybody will go to try to support certain people. I same thing them do to Cuba too, because of Cuba decides that we're not aligning with you in the West. We are going to align ourselves with Venezuela and then people that will have their own island thing. But then because Guevara and all of those people was fighting out the British and the American, so America turned against Cuba too. So guess what Cuba do? Cuba say, all right, the Russians them come with them thing and them say, all right, we're going to do business with you instead. So the West hate that because you
So
I
for
can't
think
have
instance,
also,
mm,
so
And
Daniel.
again, I
yes,
can I
for,
can chime in a bit just quickly.
Sure, please,
yeah,
Daniel.
but
In regards to Haiti. With Haiti, it's a bit complicated on this now because right now, Haiti is probably the richest Caribbean island in terms of its mineral wealth, really and truly, because Haiti has iridium. Only other place in the world that you find iridium in its purest form is in the Congo. And this mineral is worth
facts,
10 million US per kilo. Other than that,
facts.
Haiti has more oil and has more gold than Venezuela and
There you go.
other countries put together. Haiti. Now, the part of Haiti that they show, so they eat in the mud pie, I didn't even like see that because they kind of run me the spirit around me. But that is just a part of Haiti that they want us to see. And then again, even if Haiti
Turn way
can,
away.
they will can help, but it's going to be a process because the people in that part of Haiti or Hispaniola was forced to do that, and then they to I want to say forced, meaning like most of the vegetation has been cut down. People use it for coal and all that. So a reforestation would have to take place just the same. 'Cause Haiti is not void of being reforested and being turned green again. I see them doing it with the other places in the world, but they show us
And,
that part of Haiti because that's the part of Haiti that they want us to see. There are other parts of Haiti where there are cruise ship and all of that zip lines and all that comes and all that stuff, and the Clintons are in charge of mining down there. So robbing and raping the land, taking the iridium, taking the gold, taking the oil out. But that's a whole other thing because they're doing the very same thing with Jamaica as well right
uh-huh.
now under our noses, and we don't even know that. They're
Yeah.
doing the very same thing with Jamaica slowly but surely because Jamaica has diamond, Jamaica has natural gas, Jamaica has coal, Jamaica has gold as well. But that is for a whole other topic, all other thing. It's just that to say that we have everything here still natural, putting together with herbs and fruits and plants that you can eat that will definitely sustain you on a cellular level and make you healthy. It's just the information that about these things are not being disseminated on a certain level where, that it can get to the masses and then you can choose what you need to do. Because whether it's on even if it's being disseminated on a big level, you the individual still need to put, use that information so it can benefit you and benefit your family. Also, in Jamaica, we have a plethora of things that we can choose from in terms of fruits or whatever. Even with the whole thing about even breadfruit, me personally, would I prefer people eat breadfruit, would I eat cassava and yam and cocoa and dashi. It is still far better. Still far better just the same.
Isn't brother?
I'm
You know,
just
remember
saying
the
that to say this. I'm just saying that to say this. We have a lot. We don't have to make a lot of excuses because we have everything right around us. We have everything that we need, not want, need that can actually sustain us if we want to go to a plant-based diet. If you don't want to go 100%, go 70-30. 70-30. You know what I mean? But still make it, if you even go that way, to still make you even far more healthy than a person that is going all the way on the carnivorous diet. I'm even pushing that, even that option in. But we need to start somewhere and then fine tune as you go along. We have too much here available to us. Me talk to our brethren. I'm talking about Chinese ambassadors. Because I interact with them in my job. I know the man tell me say, Neil, nothing natural grows in China. There's nothing natural. That's why them love it here. Because the coconut not natural there, the mango them not natural there. Me say there's nothing natural there. There's nothing natural there at all. Them say here, however, this is what they say. Here, however, everything is natural.
Well, Naal, I'm glad you raised that point about Haiti because I know for a fact that Haiti is not just rich in minerals. Haiti is rich in good natural food.
Of
I'm
course.
blessed to have a lot of connections in Haiti, and even the mushroom that we talk about
Yeah,
all the
I
time,
want
the
to talk about
jonjon.
that. If you know nobody can get me some jung jung.
I'll try and get some for you. The jonjon mushroom
Yeah,
is so potent, so alkaline, and it's widely available in Haiti, and people eat it a lot. People eat it. They call the dish blackened rice. That's how common
exactly.
it's so powerful that it alkalizes the rice. You
Right.
see? But they it's just like everything else. The propaganda that people are eating dirt biscuits. It is not so. A lot of Haitians are eating good, solid, alkaline plants, and they have very rich, healthy diets. It's just that they want to embarrass and belittle. It's a form of psychological warfare when you
yes.
keep showing people eating dirt biscuits. That's not true.
They
Haiti
know the
full of
same thing then
fruits.
do with Jamaica.
I have a
Everybody
Same
friend,
thing.
I
always
have a
ask
colleague.
me,
She
how come
she
you
she
not have
works
no
with the
laugh?
UN. Just a minute,
How come
O'Shea.
you not
I have
smoke weed?
I have a colleague who works with the UN, and she went to Haiti for 2 years. And at the time when she was telling me, I was very ignorant about Haiti. And I'm like, how you managing with food? And she laughed at me. She says the best food she ever eat. She's Jamaican. She says the best, freshest greens, the nicest some juice where she get. So she have a brethren, a Haitian brethren, him cook up her food. She say her skin glowing when she eat the mushroom and the nice food. She couldn't believe it, said the food nice. So again, I thanks for raising that, Naal, because on the one hand is ignorance, but on the other hand is propaganda too.
Yeah.
A self eating, oh my girl, because here what our whole life then tell we in a religion, because me used to like me say when me younger, me used to have to go to church with my grandmother. And in a them religion thinking, them a tell you say, you know fi smoke no herb and all of this. And me I say, but it's a plant where grow out a door. Police, the Morant be a rebellion and all of them thing they have to kill off Rasta and to change the consciousness of people and turn the people mind against, the Ital living, etc. But it never stops them from try the herb or be curious about it in spite of all of them atrocities there and them propaganda there. So why we can't have the same kind of inclination towards good food and good living in other spheres? Just like how they try to show we one little micro part of Africa, like say the whole continent just in a But then when people start to, become more open and more social to, social media, Africa is some of the most prettiest place on earth. They have better infrastructure than even in some place where they might call first world and all of this foolishness. Right? So why we can't have the same kind of thinking and realize that it's just how them life they will say we not fit wrong. But then out of them laboratory, the same information come out and a show we say you have receptors in your body when need that what you would call it monosaccharides or disaccharides, whichever one is the sugar. So we can come to the conclusion about other things too. We look how close we get to 80 and we always are past 80. Me feel embarrassed about it. I say, look, life funny. Cuba they about 90 miles and me come from St. Mary, so me they right on the coastline there so. I mean I say, not one time in me thinking me ever say, me could take a trip go to Cuba now. But we take trip come a Disney World, we take trip come a Miami, come a Orlando and then place then you know, up and down around America. When we have better land, better infrastructure in our own place where we roots come from. Me no know what day me find out say we as Jamaican international can actually fly go places like Ghana, West Africa and then places where we really come from now. Then take away the colonial visa foolishness. Once you have a Jamaican passport, you can go to them places there. Just buy your plane ticket and show out. Them a try to
All
build back
right.
the
Same here,
relations.
Ital.
Well, O'Shane, in everyone, we're coming up on what, 3 hours now? We're gonna have to
Wow.
do a part two.
Yeah.
Um, definitely
Solution.
gonna
My
be
part
doing
will
a
be the
room.
solution. Yeah.
I'm gonna be
My
doing a
part
room
will
on
be
ganja, and we're gonna do a part two on this too. So I'm going
yeah.
to ask everyone to give their closing thoughts for tonight's discussion. I'm going to let the lady go first. So Daniel, can you just share your closing thoughts for us, please?
Well, the lady was going to gather her thoughts, but I think let me just say the topic out loud. Is vegan food making us sick? I think, in summary, yes, as it stands, we covered that, vegan food, in its modern form, or how it is presented, is tampered or comes with processed artificial food and all sorts of stuff, and for whatever reasons, um we are choosing vegan food in this form. It does contribute and it is making people sick. But I kind of wanted to rephrase it to put the responsibility on us, because right now, vegan food is getting the bad rep. So I feel like we should say, are we choosing foods that are making us sick? So I want to turn the accountability on people. Although I don't think that's 100% um fear, because a lot of people are unaware of how this capitalist system, this profit based system in every fashion, is just at every turn harming us. I think people are just being told that to focus on being successful in other ways, and they just are just not aware of how much the actual system is anti-human and anti-life. And yeah, I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Daniel. Naal, please let us have your final words. Although we can never really stop the reasoning on this, but just leave us with
No,
something for tonight, no?
no, you can't. My my thing is at the end of the day, start with love yourself. Start with love yourself. Start. That's where it really starts. In terms of the rest. suppose that's something that we have to iron out because a lot of people are they are aware or have some amount of awareness that something is not right, just that they can't put their finger on it because they are being attacked on all sides. But guess what? One thing, one thing that the individuals that are promoting and pushing certain things have not seen yet is our unity. That is something that they're not they're counting on not to happen. And if we can start to listen to each other more, start with self first, be the change that you want to see in this world. The rest will fall into place. Not everybody will get it, but most of us will if we take it from that angle. And we already know the problems. Let us just find solutions. And the solutions are there because we have the information. It's not that we don't have the information, that we have the information of the things that we need to invest our time in order to produce the results. Some of us may not be able to partake of the, the blossoming of what it is to be, but let us start somewhere and break the cycle. That is just my thing. Already know the problems, I just want solutions. Solution. And we have the solution. And there are those among us, myself, you, Keisha, Kush, Daniel, I didn't get that. There were other bridging on the call, yeah, and quite a few other of us are pushing the information. It's not just about the food, but the food is one of the mainstay. But it's being aware of other things as well that you can put the pieces of the puzzle together because I don't have all the answers. I have some. I don't have all the answers. None of us have all the answers, but with each of us having that piece of the puzzle, we can put it together to make a big picture that we don't need anybody really. I can tell you that. Being aware of the things that I'm aware of, we don't need anybody. All we need is ourselves to make it work. And it can work. So, for now, I just leave it there. But it is very possible to have us function the way we're supposed to function in mind, body, and spirit as a people. And not that about the other race, not that about we as melanin. It is very possible. We don't want to be just in Jamaica or on that global level. Because everywhere that we are, that the creating force put us, the creator, the Almighty, is where all the richest stuff is in the earth. It's where all the mineral wealth is. There's all of the most potent food and herbs are. That's where we are, even though I'm scattered from the motherland. Everywhere that we are, Central, South America, wherever. You look at those places, you'll find the most exotic, most nutritious foods and herbs there everywhere we are. So we are still around those stuff. So we just need to utilize them, get ourselves armed with the necessary knowledge and information so we can utilize these things and put it into action so we can break the cycle and just be the gods and goddesses that we're supposed to be.
Thank you so much, Naal. Well said, well said. Kush, I'm not sure if you can hear, but if you can give us your final words.
Uh, definitely. Hold on. Uh, I agree with the notion. Vegan food is unhealthy and it is making a lot of people sick. Um, but for the African masses who are following the vegan trend, the only thing is that once we once we move away from the lessons of our elders, we move away from our immune system. Our elders are not children, or when I say elders, I mean the continuation of the elders, the knowledge of the elders. They are not children. This is knowledge that has been practiced, trial and error for decades, generation, millenniums, and the more we move away from these knowledge, the more we move away from our immune system, and the more we get sick. So yeah, that's my final word.
Well said, everyone. Well, I will say for my final words that, as many wise ancestors have said before us, the enemy made an error. He made an error and a miscalculation by scattering us across the world. As Naal said, or what appears to be our failure is actually the key to our victory. We are in the best places to regroup, to get healthy, to learn about ourselves, learn about our spirituality. We're no longer in one place where they can come and get us. We're all over, and that's where our strength lies. So it's just about getting back to self, getting back to ancestral wisdom, as everyone has said. And for our part, we have a responsibility to not just live by example, but also to spread the information. Each one teach one, and to support each other so that we can see real, lasting, and genuine change. Brother Fabian, you came when we're closing out. I'm so glad you came, but we're closing out now, my brother. So thank you so much for joining. Anyway, I will be back tomorrow the same time with another riveting topic. I hope that you will be able to join. I will be sending it out tomorrow afternoon, but I'm going to be here tomorrow again at 7 p.m. same time. So thank you all for joining. I really enjoyed this discussion. It was very, very informative and robust. So thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone. And if you can join me tomorrow, please do so. Thank you so much.